हो जाएंगे, लेकिन क्या कर सकते हैं आप। जाने का ही प्रणाली। ऑल द बेस्ट। थैंक यू।
Hello. Hello.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah,
We'll be beginning shortly, sir.
it's okay. Ned. The time is 2 o'clock.
1 o'clock,
One
sir.
o'clock. Sorry, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right.
ज्योति तुम्हारा थोड़ा कैमरा ऊपर जा रहा है. गुड आफ्टरनून सर.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
You are muted, sir, I think.
No.
No, we can hear sir sound.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can't hear you.
Madam, we can hear, but hello.
Is it audible now?
Is
Yes,
it
madam.
Jyoti?
Madam,
सर का म्यूट किया है, वो ओपन करो ना.
madam, we can hear sir's voice.
Can't hear.
We can hear sir.
Okay.
I-
Okay. अच्छा अच्छा. Yeah. Sorry, sir. I had to put this.
Ma'am, can you hear my voice?
It's okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting the invitation,
Yes,
sir.
Okay.
we can hear. Susan.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear. Are you ready, Susan?
Yes.
So shall we begin?
Yes.
Yeah, we can start.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of MGM New Bombay College of Nursing, I, Mrs. Fragancia Jubilson, feel privileged to welcome you all to the second day of National Webinar, Governance and Leadership, Optimizing Nursing Education and Service. I welcome all the participants and speakers and guests from all over the country from different walks of nursing who have joined here with us to share their knowledge. I'm glad to see the participants join with the same zeal as yesterday. Now I request Mrs. Susan Jacob, Professor, MGM New Bombay College of Nursing, to brief about today's session.
Thank you, Fagancia. Good afternoon to all who are present here as participants and as resource persons for today's session, that is the healthcare challenges in India, prominence to nursing. So let me open this theme of today's session. Nursing bonds to human society with a bond of care and affection. Nursing is a calling to care which offers an oasis of poignant stories and host of challenges. Despite of urbanization and globalization in India, the healthcare system in the country continues to face formidable changes. Nurses play an integral role in the healthcare system industry, providing care to the patients and carrying out leadership roles in hospitals, health systems, and other organizations. It is of paramount importance that all people everywhere should have access to a skilled, motivated, and supportive nursing care within a robust healthcare system. Reduced workforce and lack of quality care leads to overburdened workforce, which further leads to a higher morbidity and mortality. It is indispensable that all people everywhere should have access to a skilled, motivated, and supportive nursing care within a robust healthcare system. However, there are certain challenges which the nurses in the present healthcare system face. These challenges arise due to issues at organizational, state, and national level. In India, the healthcare system is undergoing a radical change and there are unmet health targets. The change is due to change in demographics, advancement in medical technology, profit learning mentality, immigration, task shifting, education service gap, and economic recession, to list a few. So there are several daunting challenges faced by nurses at workplace, which leaves them less efficient in rendering quality care to patients. Thereby, nevertheless, these challenges are arguably the primary motivation for nurses to leave their profession, thereby contributing to staff shortage. Other countries with more opportunities, better remuneration and working conditions and respect better. Hence, it is utmost importance to first recognize and understand each and every possible challenges faced by the nurses in order to deal with them efficiency, not just recognize and understand them, but also find solutions to mitigate them. Today, we will be having eminent resource persons who will be deliberating on the healthcare challenges, various healthcare problems in India, and availability of healthcare resources, how to prepare nursing professionals to overcome these challenges, process of change management, and role of leadership in change management. Let us listen to them in order to combat these challenges, which can make nurses empowered, encouraged, challenged, and affirmed to meet doing what they do best without any barriers. Thank you. Over to Fagancia.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's proceed with the sessions of today. Our first speaker of the day is Dr. Prakash Doke, Professor, Department of Community Health. Yeah. Sir has nearly 17 years of teaching experience, 24 years of administrative experience, and nearly 3 years of exclusive research experience. He has published papers in various journals and also contributed as co-author for many community books. He has also published some monograms and evaluation reports. He had been a reviewer for many medical journals. His international trainings even include USA, Germany, and Yugoslavia. He was nominated by Government of Madhya Pradesh as Public Health Expert Member, and he had been a lead investigator in Regional Health Sector Prospective Study on behalf of High Level Committee of Planning Department, Government of Maharashtra. Sir is well connected with MGM Institute of Health Sciences. He's a very humble person, and he's always available for our academic and professional support. So we are happy to have you with us along with this national webinar, sir. We welcome you. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon. Mostly ladies, and I believe few gentlemen. So, at the outset, I thank College of Nursing, MGM Institute of Health Sciences, for giving me opportunity to have interaction with the nursing personnel. Maybe I'll be about speaking for 40 minutes. You are all requested to intervene me or comment, stop me at any time for better understanding and clarifications. So we start. Is the screen visible?
No, sir.
Hello?
No, sir.
Not yet?
Not yet. You will be sharing the slides, sir?
Huh.
Yeah, acha. Okay.
But okay, again I will try.
You have to open it, sir, first.
I have opened it. It's
Yeah.
available also. I don't.
Slides, screen share also you have to do?
Yeah.
Yes, now it is there, sir. Now it
Okay,
is
now
coming. Yeah, now it has come.
Okay. Shall we go ahead then?
Sir, you can enlarge the. Yes, sir. Yes.
So will be first part will not be discussing actual problem. We will be discussing the problems of delivering healthcare. When we say anything about delivering healthcare, the first which comes to our mind is the present disease pattern. Then it was said by Jacob Madam that the technology, modern technology. Third important healthcare is growing cost of healthcare. And across all these is the expectation of patients, expectations of the community. And one important institutions and personnel in the healthcare sector. And lastly, healthcare regulatory changes. And this will be the flow of chart for healthcare problems. Then maybe for about 1/3 time, we'll be speaking about availability of resources. Whenever we see resources, then the next resource is the availability of manpower, infrastructure. And we'll be also discussing something about public and private sector and other support systems. So what is the disease pattern? I'm 100% sure all of you know that the country is passing through a epidemiological transition. Epidemiological transition, though you know, I will like to explain few more details about it. Earlier, before maybe 3-4 decades, the most dominant diseases were communicable diseases, infectious diseases. But gradually, the pattern is changing. And now, almost 50% deaths are due to non-communicable diseases. And we say that we are having double the burden. Double the burden means the communicable diseases still continue, and non-communicable diseases are emerging. Why we have to learn about this? The earlier diseases, let us take example of typhoid fever. An episode of typhoid fever, the patient was admitted for a week or two, and the cost of treatment will be about some thousands, 10,000. And after that, he is almost all right, almost normal. But the present episodes, a person having angina, having coronary heart disease, he gets admitted and the cost is in lakhs. Not only cost in lakhs, he has to continue the medicine throughout life. So it is really unbearable. So this is the importance of transition. Secondly, this group includes diabetes, hypertension, and malignancy. But again, one thing is emerging, that is accidental deaths. We always classify the deaths into first common causes of death. And nowadays, road traffic accidents are emerging and appearing in the first 10 causes of death. So that is very important. And the original one, communicable diseases, along with maternal and child health. Here, specially mention is of malnutrition among children. So this is epidemiological transition, shift from communicable to non-communicable diseases, and the importance of it. The second important disease pattern is climatic changes, including pollution. Even if the temperature rises by few degrees, it creates heaven for mosquitoes. And when it creates heaven for mosquitoes, all mosquito-borne diseases increase. All of us must be remembering before 2-3 years, the havoc with Zika. We were all terrified. What will happen to India? What will happen to world after Zika? And the second important in pollution is air pollution. If you see in autopsy, lung of a child, it's absolutely pink color. And when you see in autopsy a lung of an old man, it is absolutely black. This is the effect of air pollution. All the time we are getting cases of COPD, asthma, and along with it also contributes to coronary artery disease. When you ask me what are the common illnesses in India, I will simply say it is the diarrhea and malaria, commonest. And young ladies, both these commonest causes are related to management of water. Malaria, dengue are due to stagnated water, whereas diarrhea, gastro, cholera, this is due to contamination of water. So role of contamination and climatic changes cannot be exaggerated. Important contributory factor is our lifestyle changes. Don't mind, ladies, I will just quote one example. I was traveling from Mumbai to Kolhapur. The train starts from CST at about 6-7 o'clock and reaches Kolhapur in the morning. Being a senior citizen, I was given lower berth. And at the top berth, there was a young lady. All the time she was speaking on mobile. She didn't speak and she didn't allow me to sleep. So this is the lifestyle change. No physical activity, no physical activity, junk food and sleepless nights or working late hours. These are all the critical causes, core causes for epidemiological transition. Emerging diseases. We just described about Zika. But when I say emerging diseases, in 2020 and 21, we cannot just neglect COVID-19. The whole world is horribly, terribly suffering. It is having tension, stresses due to COVID-19. What will happen in India? Is it the starting of second wave? Fingers crossed. Ebola. Fortunately, this Ebola did not spread outside Africa, but these are the diseases, they are emerging and may emerge. And this last one, as medical profession, as nursing profession, we are all worried because the strongest instrument for control of communicable diseases is antibacterial drugs, antibiotics. And because of indiscriminate use, we are losing this strongest instrument, emerging drug resistance. So these are the important factors of changing in disease pattern. The next important is changing technologies. Before decade, we never dreamed that a robot will perform surgeries. Now, most of the corporate hospital advertise we are having robotic surgeries. And you can understand a senior person like me, I may have tremors while operating, or any senior surgeon. The stress after standing 3 hours, 4 hours, there is a stress. All this is relieved when there is robotic surgery. This is perfect precision and tireless. Absolutely, this is the, and it is coming for deep pelvic surgeries, even for angioplasties, bypass. This is an in future we have to deal with it. Then again, in this 2 decades we have seen G2, G3, G4, G5, fast transmission of information and even the figures. Now you have so many gadgets, nanotechnology. There are drugs which can cure malignancy absolutely within short time and 100%. But what is the risk? The side effects. And by nanotechnology, we will be absolutely can forget the side effects. What is happening? We are delivering nano dose and a targeted organ. So this is a technology. This is an emerging technology, and it will all affect the healthcare. Point of care gadgets. Young friends, when we purchase arterial gas analyzer, we have to collect from femoral artery. Collecting something from femoral artery was really risky. But now it's a pulse oximeter. It is such a small gadget available almost in every house nowadays because of COVID. No invasion. You can have all the things. There are ultrasounds. Probably role of stethoscope, use of stethoscope is gone now. Have a portable smallest, and the ultrasounds are of the size of tab. ECG machines. These are the technologies which are influencing our healthcare. Use of lesser technology in treatment of cancer, coronary heart block, and also diagnostics. And again, in the context of COVID-19, in these last maybe 30, 40 years, or even in the history of medicine, it takes a very long time to have a good vaccine. The earlier was probably some years. This is the first time we have a good vaccine in a year. Historical. No vaccine was developed in a year. How was it possible? It was possible because of recombinant technology. What we are doing? We are taking the spike protein from coronavirus, adding it to the adenovirus and producing vaccine, or using recombinant RNA technology. As nurses and doctors, we have to always remember the cost of healthcare. It is mainly due to heavy equipments and machinery. Now every hospital wants CT scan of 64 slices minimum, which means it is in crores, 10 crores, 20 crores. And entry of corporate sector. There may be hot arguments about positive and negative effects or impacts of entry of corporate sector. But again, believe me, corporate sector is there to earn profit. Their motto is serve by earning profit. A specialist, it's very difficult to start a good hospital. Investment is in crores. So he or she prefers to go a corporate hospital where there is no headache, durability, and have a good remuneration, and the all profit will go to the corporate, not to the specialist or not to the nurses. You are just employees. Trained in investigations, thanks or curses, what you may say, to Consumer Protection Act. Prabha madam, we must be remembering we start many investigations
Yes, sir.
only to say that the court should not blame us. Why you did not do it? Why you did not do it? What is the net effect? The net effect is on the pocket of the patient. So that always remember. But then again, as I said, these are some good points and also associated with some bad effects of it. Newer drugs. Most of the new drugs, they have patents, and when there are patents, the cost is exorbitant. Expectations of specialists. Suppose now you have passed DM cardiology. He has spent 5.5 years in MBBS, 3 years in MD, and 3 years in DM. So by the time he start practice, he is already middle-aged person. So his expectation is that he should get a very good salary, very good remuneration. And then starting hospital is difficult and the corporate will not share. So it's a very delicate balance. We call it the sandwich. The specialist is sandwich. Sorry. Then I said that comparison with other sector. Normally, what the doctor will compare? See, my young friend, my classmate, room fellow, he was engineer. He passes B computer and he is earning more than me. I am starting earning 8 years later to him and still earning very less. Do you agree with me? A very good advocate, he can charge you hourly. I know advocates from Supreme. 1 minute. So they can charge you 50,000 rupees, 1 lakh per hour. I don't know any doctor, any nurse who is charging 1 lakh rupees per hour. Do you know? But I know many advocates. So nurses, doctors, they compare with others. You pass BSc, MSc nursing, and your colleague is BA computer. See what she gets and what you get, the respect and the money. So you always compare. And this is again affecting the healthcare services. In many institutions, we are not getting students for MCH, cardiothoracic surgery, even including MGM, and in government also. What is the reason? People think what I will do after passing this. Patients' expectations. Dear friends, the knowledge is at the tip of the fingers. You just see Google and you get information. Nowadays, the diabetes patients are better diabetologists than real diabetologists. They read. But then only reading from Google is dangerous. And as a result of this, knowledge expectations are increasing. The second important reason is that per capita income. Excepting this last one year or maybe 2 years, our per capita income is gradually growing. This per capita income and knowledge at the tip, because of these two factors, patient express excellent services. 1 minute. Gauri, I have a meeting. I will call it later. sorry. They want excellent services from all public institutions, private institutions, but at what cost? Minimum bills. They will fight with you. They will fight with the management. Expect excellent services and expect minimum bills. Is it possible? When you expect excellent services, you have to pay for that. And these are the reasons for violence against healthcare institution. You and me, we know there are limitations of nursing and medical sciences. In spite of all efforts, there will be some complications, there will be some deaths. They expect miracles from health institutions. Once he or she admits his or her mother or father in institution, they expect that she or he will be cured. And if it doesn't happen, the consequences are quite different. And lastly, patient expects many things from us, but on the other hand, their compliance is very poor. Friends, Lancet and WHO carried out one study. The objective of the study was, what are the common causes of persistent illness? And the second most common was, patients do not comply to the advice given. You will ask him, don't take salt, he will take salt. You ask him to carry out physical exercise, he will only get up early in the morning 8 o'clock and nothing doing. You ask him not to eat sugar, samosa, gulab jam, he will enjoy the foods. And still they feel that he or she should be cured. The poor compliance from the patient. The repercussions of patients' expectations do appear in community's expectations. Ultimately, community is the group of persons. Again, what the community expects? Free treatment or at subsidized rates treatment. They expect specialist services. I always give example. A professor of dermatology examining and wasting his time in treatment of scabies. Do the treatment of scabies need a dermatologist? Absolutely no. That can be treated by ASHA or even ANM or maximum nurse. For upper respiratory infection, time must. So this is the failure, what we call as the referral failure. India has never a robust system of referral. This is called as the doorkeeping or gatekeeping. In medical colleges, only referred patients should come. Referred by special community health centers, referred by practitioners, and unless there is a real need, patients should not come directly. This is called as gatekeeping. We are absolutely failing in gatekeeping. As a result, they expect specialist services for minor, trivial illnesses. Quality of services. You must be knowing there are many systems of achieving and the quality. This is again very important. When you are insured, you feel that this is your right. For even small ailment, you will go to hospital and fight with the insurance company to get 100% reimbursement. And the insurance companies normally give you 80%, 75%, 90%, but the people are very happy with this 80-90%. People accept good infrastructure, AC room, and very good food, good canteen, and polite behavior. Community expect polite behavior from nurses and doctors. Again, pardon me, I'll be diverting a little bit. We carried out a study with the support from UNFPA. The study was a lady who had her first delivery in government hospital, but her second delivery was in private hospital. So he collected a list of these women interviewed them and asked, what is the reason? For the first time, you availed services from government institution. For second time, you availed the services from private hospital. What is the reason? And ladies, believe in me, what was the reason? Common is the first reason. They say at the time of delivery, the nurses and attendants abuse them, use very bad words. This is a real reason. The reason may be not much different in medium to small hospital. So community expects very polite behavior from healthcare personnel. And as I said, for healthcare, the new changes and this one against healthcare institutions and healthcare persons. Day by day, this is increasing. We are all worried. We are going from indemnity. I hope there are few nurses from Thane district. They must be remembering that before 25 years, there was a very good hospital in Thane called Singhania Hospital. Some untoward event happened in that hospital. The hospital was totally burned. It never restarted. Who was at loss? The loss that was the community, because they were getting excellent services at subsidized rate. They are deprived now. Why this violence occurs against doctors, nurses, and institutions? The reason is sudden death or severe complication. Those who are from NABH accredited hospitals, they know there are protocols of telling such bad news to the relatives. In the protocols, we say that it should be only told by a senior person, not by junior person. That too, take into conference. Sympathy and empathy both are essential. If you explain them with polite manner, probably people will understand. The next reason for violence is the bill of the hospitals. As I was discussing, people expect free treatment or people expect subsidized treatment. And if the bill is more than their expectation, they start fighting. In MGM, we have to resort to the special guards, bodybuilder guards, to avoid this violence. You must be remembering this special bodyguards we have kept. Crude behavior from healthcare personnel. Sometimes, unfortunately, this should not happen, but it happens. A resident is run. So naturally, in such circumstances, we are inviting for the trouble. If such instances are increasing, what is being done? Yes, certainly the community, the government, the profession is aware of this, and we have a law, we have an act called as the Maharashtra Medical Services Persons and Medical Service Institution Act, which prevents violence and damage to loss of property. But unfortunately, its implementation is not satisfactory, far from satisfactory. Till last decade, the management techniques were not there in the health sector, in hospital sector. But now, last 20 years, 21 years, the management techniques have intruded in the hospitals. And earlier, the superintendents, medical directors were either doctors or nurses. Now you will find in many hospitals, the superintendents or medical directors or administrators and managers. When I teach as a students, or even I always explain my example. A specific lady is absent for 4, 5, 6 days. I used to decide in mind, I will scold her right and left for her absence. She turns back after 5 days. I say, where were you? Why didn't you come to the hospital for 5 days? She says, Sir, I was not feeling well. The moment she was not feeling well, administrator for me gets vanish and doctor takes the role. Oh, what happened? Are you okay now? This is the reason why there is a role of hardcore administration. In the hardcore manner, even in the government, you will find that the secretary is always an IS person, not a doctor. It is believed that doctors may not be good manager. There are many reasons, but there are good manager doctors also. The management information system, it's a wonderful tool with medical director and medical superintendent. It tells you what is happening, and this we borrowed from management technology. Again, particularly for private hospitals. Excepting few, no private hospital will run into losses. Maybe good charity hospitals will expect minimum profit, but no will expect losses. In these circumstances, in this context, in most of the hospital, maximum budget is allotted to salary in government, in private also. Why this is so? Because that is the most important part. But then I am taking example from public sector. If you are once permanent government servant, it's very difficult to remove the person. Very difficult. You can recruit people easily, but you cannot dismiss people easily. Then what is the net result? The net result is that they start their proactiveness. Their enthuse totally stops. They feel even if you do good things, you will be paid like a person who is doing nothing. So his enthuse get lost. So what is the solution? The solution is performance-based remuneration. This is practice in Tata Cancer Hospital. In Tata Cancer Hospital, there is a core salary, and for each department, the profit is distributed. In the department, there are points for professor, associate professor, assistant professor, technician, mama, maushi, etc. And everybody gets his or her share of the profit apart from core salary. I think those who are at a high level of administration, my nursing friends, they can think of this. Profit-oriented hospitals, there are and they are running very well. And not only running well, they are having their shares in the market. Apollo Hospital, it has a regular share market. Even our Kokiaben Hospital, they are all profit-oriented but running best. So it is not always to say that the corporate hospital will only earn profit. They earn profit, but they also provide excellent services. So what is the golden mean? You want good services and also a reasonable payment. And for this golden mean, there are accreditation systems. Once the accredited hospital is accredited, they assure the patient that here you will good quality services and transparent charges. That is the beauty of accreditation system. Again, this is important. Normally, there will be only few persons who are deviating and having some malevolent intentions, but most of the doctor, nurses, they are really devoted, dedicated. In fact, those who join nursing and medical profession, subconsciously, they have their liking for services. Although they may grumble, but inside, below the cortex, they have the liking for this work and therefore they join this profession. But as I said, there are some person, they are doing misdeeds. For them, there is Council, Indian Nursing Council and National Medical Board. Council. They frames rules and regulations, and nurses and doctors are expected to follow these rules and regulations. And apart from personal management, even the care given by the healthcare institutions is sometimes regulated for benefits to the community. And I'm quoting 3 acts which are actually related to medical care, but they are governed by the act. What these 3 acts are? Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, which assures that if the hospital is registered, you are getting quality services by quality persons, and you will probably very safe abortion. PCPNDT Act. This is a reflection of community's bad behavior. The wonderful ultrasound machine, few doctors has used these machines to detect the sex of unborn child and further abort it. Unfortunately, the excellent technology is used with malified intention by some doctors, and taking cognizance of this, the government has enacted Preconception and Prenatal Diagnostic Technique Acts. As I said, these are the reflections of community's behavior on the care services. Transplantation of Human Organ Act. Those who are senior colleagues, they must be remembering there were many news. Kidneys are removed and they are sold. There were allegations against many hospitals. And therefore, again, there is an act that you cannot sell your organs. Again, this is very important. The last one, price control of essential drugs and medical devices. About 860 drug prices are governed by government. The reason, again, the reason is that the manufacturing companies. Friends, you go to SIMS or MIMS, take any drug, take paracetamol. There will be at least 150 or 100 companies producing paracetamol. Those are all standard companies which are referred in MIMS and SIMS. And their price of one tablet may be 20 to 30 times high. Two standard companies. One is giving you 2 rupees, the other will give you at 20 rupees. Take examples. So who should control it? This is the act, and this is affecting the services. And again, this is really out of these medical devices. What devices have been chosen, friends? Stents. That is the most complicated, which is used both drug-eluted and plain stents. And on the other hand, contraceptives. The first is the costliest, and second is the cheapest. What contraceptive? Condoms. Cost of condoms is monitored. Why? Because it should be as free, as minimum as possible. People should use it. IUCDs and condoms on one hand and stents on other hand. So it is a whole range where Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India, this is pertaining to insurance. There are again allegations and hot arguments about the costing of these surgical procedures by Insurance Regulatory Authority. Some hospitals say that they are giving very less money, or the budget or the cost is shown very less, and it is not profitable for institution. But there are particularly medical colleges, they feel that whatever cost is offered by this IRDA is reasonable. But one thing is sure, no hospital can charge exorbitantly and which is registered under health insurance. So this was about the first part, as I said, the challenges for healthcare, not health diseases, etc. Now for about maybe 10 minutes or 7-8 minutes, we'll discuss about availability of resources. We have seen the changing pattern of the disease. We have seen what are the challenges or problems in having healthcare in situ, and to have healthcare in situ, quality services and excellent services, what are the resources available? See the chart. We always blame the papers, blame the TV, blame that India is giving very low budget for health. This is true. I have given the latest available figure for 2018. Per capita income of an average Indian was 73 US dollar per year. And how much we are spending on health? 3.54%. This is inclusive of private sector. Private and public sector, they only spend 3.5% of gross domestic product on health. And see, 18, 17, 16, it is at the range of 3.5, 3.2, etc., etc. But in 2000, before exactly 20 years, it was slightly higher, 4.03. And what is the recommendation? The recommendation is that both the 12th Commission, 11th Commission, National Health Mission, everybody says that it should be about 8% of the budget or minimum 3% of public sector GDP. Here, public sector GDP is about 1% and 2.5% is the private sector. So it is only 1/3. With this 1/3 budget, you have to play the gimmicks of giving excellent services. And we fight, nurses fight for norms. So many nurses for so many beds. We fight for our salary. And what is the net result? Nothing. Why there is nothing? Because we are spending only 1% on health. Manpower ability. Maybe this is 1 or 2 years old figure. There are about 11.57 lakhs MBBS doctors. And registered nurses who have enrolled, they are about 10.20 lakhs. Here again, I want to say the best country to live is USA. In USA, Swati madam, if you go, there is red carpet. Red carpet for physiotherapists, red carpet for BSc, MSc nursing. There are many nurses going to Abu Dhabi. They are going to other countries. Why they are going? Do they know Singapore? Do they Dubai? No. But they pay more. Because they pay more, our people are going there. WHO has advised that there should be 1 doctor per 1,000 population. But where we are having 1 doctor for 1,456 population. And again, friends, this is inclusive of Ayush doctors, not of plain doctors. There's a very, very wide gap. So this is something about public sector. I'm sure you know what is a subcenter, what is a PSC, and what is a CSC. A subcenter provides for about 3,000 to 5,000 population. A PSC provides 20,000 to 30,000 population, and a CSC for 1 block or about 1 lakh population. So in Maharashtra, roughly about 10% of the institutions of the country, they are in Maharashtra. And again, I'm telling, this is acute shortage. And you know, you are feeling this acute shortage in all the institutions. Again, coming to doctors. When you say doctor, It is not only MBBS, it is called as plural system. We have plural system. Ayurveda, Yoga, Unani, Siddha, Homeopathy. All these together they contribute, and we have one doctor for 1500 population. Their experience is different, their qualification is different, then their therapies are different, everything is different, but we woven them in one thing. Again, there is a government and private. They again fight each other, government and private. And there are plenty unregistered, plenty. You go to interior, you will find plenty of Vaidyas and plenty of whatever person, mantrik, tantric, there are many. Yoga, there are yoga gurus, but there is no registration for yoga. Even tomorrow I can start my yoga class from morning. And thanks to Ramdev Baba. Anyhow, he has popularized. I don't say this is good or bad, but he has certainly popularized. Acute shortage is there all the time. Coming to nurses. Again, there is a very wide spectrum. ANM, only 18 months training, 10 past 18 months training. She knows only pelvic part, delivery and nothing more. GNM, but fortunately, Nursing Council is encouraging at least graduation. That is a very positive thing, but then there are difficulties in achievement of it. Highly qualified, and at least in Pune, I know there are about 30 institutions who are giving registered nurses. They call it RNI, Registered Nursing Institution. They give training, and most of the private hospitals appoint these nurses. They are not registered under nursing INC, but there are there in many hospitals. Quality of education. This is the very important part in manpower. Our resources. There are 555 medical colleges and 850 nursing colleges, both in government and private sector. And as I said, there are registered nursing colleges where the bed strength of the hospital is 20. Even we don't start in CSCs and rural hospitals, but there are nursing councils. I do not know how they get permission from Indian Nursing Council. There are many medical colleges where people are there only for the sake of inspection. So what will be the product of nurses and medical doctors? So as I said, it's a double-edged sword. On one hand, we have acute shortage, and when we try to meet the gap, there is poor quality. So as a medical fraternity, nursing fraternity, we have to think seriously. And probably this is the last. Yeah, this is probably the last one or last but one. There are support services also. The support services are basically for prevention. What are the specific? ICDS, Integrated Child Development Scheme, where Anganwadi workers, they provide nutrition, health education, and immunization services to mothers, expectant mothers and children. That is a very wonderful support system for health and medical care. The other is again water supply and sanitation. As I was discussing, commonest cause of morbidity is diarrhea, and commonest cause of death is death due to dehydration. So this is the support system. Pollution control, again, this is the support system, which includes biomedical waste, air and water pollution control. So in short, this I feel that these are the real challenges, present challenges in healthcare delivery, and some points of availability of resources. I'll be very happy if you have any queries, any questions to answer it.
Thank you, sir, for the excellent presentation and sharing your deep insights on the topic with us. Any questions from the participants?
Madam, I think there is one question from Snehal Alvarez.
Yes, ma'am.
Should I read the question?
Yes.
Sure.
He says, good afternoon, Dr. Prakash sir. So clearly stated issues, wonderful presentation to kick off on the second day. My question on the statements of Dr. Prakash is, doctor said to manage people in hospital, they need hardcore management, but this is punitive approach may not lead to productive output, and due to punitive approaches many issues can be put behind and neglected, like near miss incidents. Sir, kindly deliberate on this. We will be highly grateful to your inputs on this.
So, madam, this is the recent feeling among bureaucrats and among corporate hospitals that doctors may not be good managers. The reason behind is that the whole 5.5 years training, they have never been taught management. They do not know what is HR. They do not know what is budget. So, therefore, to have profit and as well as to use the best resources, the newer thinking is that the person can be a non-manager or non-doctor. But then, when I say this is a welcome step or newer step, but there is a hitch. Hitch is that the person should not interfere in medical care. Should he or she should look after appointment, budgeting, but not remove this OT, don't use this drug. So there should be clear work division. And when you have a clear work division, there will be few quarrels and few arguments. But then, as I said, if you are trained, if you go a doctor going from hospital administration, it's a welcome because a doctor is learning administration. So maybe hardcore manager or a doctor or a nurse having undergone training. So my personal feeling is that doctor or nurse undergoing full management training is the best choice because he or she knows both the angles. But like I said, in some hospital, our my friend Dr. Lele, he was MD of Hinduja Hospital. He was non-doctor. There are many such. But the best, from my point of view, the best will be a doctor having formal training. And secondly, work division, clear work division.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let's move ahead with the next section of the day.
Okay, thank you, friends. Maybe we'll meet sometime later.
Thank you very much,
Bye
sir.
bye.
sir.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
bye.
Thank you, sir.
So the next speaker of the day is Dr. Swati S. Chane, founder and CEO, Seva Sakti Healthcare Consultancy Limited, Mumbai, Maharashtra. Madam is an experienced healthcare entrepreneur, nurse and patient safety advocate, activist and independent researcher. She had co-authored a study on nurses in Maharashtra. She had been speaker on various national and international public health and nursing platforms. She had been the master trainer and guide to postgraduate students in hospital administration. She had been quoted in national and international print and broadcast media for COVID-19 related work for nurses' safety and healthy working conditions. Madam has been the Vice President, Clinical Nursing Research Society, and she had also organized various webinars related to nurses' image and career growth. So we are happy you're here with us for this national webinar, ma'am. We welcome you and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll just share my screen. Just give me a few seconds. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Dr. Swati.
Hello, is my screen visible?
Yeah, your screen is visible. You can put it on slideshow.
Yeah, one second. Is it okay?
Yes,
Is it visible?
yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So, good afternoon, friends. I think we had an excellent presentation by Professor Dr. Duque, and we got an overall, view of how the healthcare of India is and where we stand as nursing professionals. And I have been given the topic is preparedness of nursing professionals to overcome the challenges. So, before we go to the topic, let us ask few questions to us, okay? And then we will understand how should we be prepared for this whole challenge, okay? So first thing is that who are we, okay? And when we say who are we, what do you really understand who we are? Okay, so for me, if I close my eyes and ask, who am I first? So the first question, the first answer which comes to me is that I'm Swati. Okay, so this is a very important thing that we have to first identify who we are. Okay, and then what do I do? How are we made? Okay, so we are made with our lot of cultures, or we are made with a lot of the environment from where we come in. Okay, and who is responsible for us? So as Swati, who is responsible for me? So my answer is I myself am responsible for myself. Or somebody would say, oh, my parents are responsible, or somebody would say, oh, my family is responsible for me. So this is something very important to understand who is responsible for us. Okay, and why are we here? So why is this Swati today talking to you? Okay, so what is the purpose of me talking to you? So when if I want to answer is that I want to connect to each and every nurse in India. I want to connect to each and every patient in India. Okay, and I like to connect to people. So that is my personal agenda or my personal goal. Okay, to connect and help people. Then comes is, for whom are we there? So this Swati is there for whom? Or a person A, B, C, D is there for whom? So if she's a principal of a college, but before that, who is she? Or if she's a staff nurse of a hospital, even before understanding that she's a staff nurse, who is she? For whom is she there? That is the most important question. And how I should be as Swati, or how I should be as Jyoti, or how I should be as Snehal, or how I should be as A, B, C, D, whoever it is. How I would like to see myself in the mirror. Okay, so these are a few important questions. Even before preparing ourselves for the challenges, we have to ask, because the self, okay, is the core, or the raw material for I who is going to be a Swati, a nurse. Okay, so this is very important. So this person is very important to understand self. Okay, and somewhere I think today the challenge for nurses in India is that they themselves have not understood themselves. Forget about nursing, even themselves, they don't know what they're doing or what they are. And it is because of our lifestyle today. Okay, it is because of the environment today we are in, or it is because of our thinking, I would say, or because of our circle we are moving in. So first thing is that let us first ask these questions at a self level. Okay, I'll come to you also why I'm asking these questions first. Then we come to the professional level. So at the professional level, we have to understand is that we have to define us as nurses. Okay, so who is going to define us? So you would say there are professional bodies, okay, who are defining us. Okay, there are great philosophers and researchers of nurses who are defining us. Okay, so are we going to be as they have defined us? And if yes, if we are going to be, because we are under a professional body, we have to be like that. Okay, so ICN has defined a nurse. Okay, IMC has defined a nurse. Virginia Henderson has defined a nurse. So whom do you connect to? Which definition do you connect to? Okay, so that is the question which we have to ask. Okay, and how we are developed as professionals. Okay, so this Swati, who has joined nursing in 1994 in LT College of Nursing, how was her journey? How was she developed from Swati to a registered nurse is the most important. How was she treated? What was the environment in where she was? Did she lose her confidence? How were her own teachers with her? How were her own classmates with her? Okay, this is what is called as the next development or a mold of that raw material is being, given shape, okay, by the teachers, by the environment, by the other professionals, okay, and by the system. Okay, so this is the most important thing. I think most of our reaction or most of our work is developed from this 80%, I would say. Okay, so and that is one of the reason. 1 second, please. Hello. Yes. मी आता बोलू नाही शकत, थोड्या वेळानंतर फोन कर. Okay, thank you so much. So this is the most important thing which I think is missing in today's nursing profession, and that is becoming as a big challenge, because today our nurses who are coming out of the colleges, okay, or of the schools are not being able to deliver or not even able to stand for the right things or not able to deliver the right things. So I think this is the major gap which I find as a researcher or as a nurse. And where are we right now? So when a nurse passes out, she may join either a government hospital, she may join a private hospital, she may join a municipal hospital. And in that environment, she has to fit. So today in India, 80% of our nurses, nursing workforce is working in private sector, because 80% is private sector. And how does a private sector need a nurse to be? Okay, so who defines her work? The hospital defines her work, her matron defines her work, she herself defines her work, you can say her patient defines her work. So this is a big challenging question which we have to answer today. And there is no cookie cutter, okay? It is going to be unique to every nurse. It cannot be even the nurse working in the same organization. All these questions will have different answers for her. And we as nursing colleges or we as nursing teachers have to develop our students to answer these questions. Okay, if I'm working in a hospital and if I'm the matron of the hospital or if I'm the chief nursing officer of that hospital, I have to develop my system. Okay, in that system, the nurse who's going to work, she should be able to answer this question. So that environment creation should be done by both the service sector and the education sector. And I think there is a big mismatch there, and there we have to work. And there are no, as I told you, there are no cookie cutters or there are no answers. Okay, we all have to work on it at our individual level, at our organizational levels. Then comes this, who evaluates our work and how? So today, the nurse giving an injection in a PHC and a nurse giving injection in a 5-star hospital, will she give in the same way? Yes. Yes, she will give in the same way because the scientific principle of the injection procedure is going to be same. Her environment may be different. Okay, the syringe what she is holding may be very different. But she cannot hold a syringe, a used syringe, and give that injection. Or she cannot violate the scientific principles. Okay. So who is evaluating? So she herself has to evaluate her work. And how? That is what we have to teach to our nurses and our students. Why are we not visible? Why are we so overshadowed? Though we are 50% of the health sector, why are we not still visible? Though our work is 24/7, we are there in the hospital 24/7. Why are we not visible? What is that missing element in us? That is what we have to find, identify, and we have to understand where is that visibility gone? Okay. For whom are we not aware of our needs? Okay. So this question is something like, are we aware of our needs as a professional? As a professional, am I aware what is required for me to be a good professional, to give a good patient care? And now comes the most important question. Who is going to help us? So one thing is very important to understand is we have to help ourselves. And we have to empower our nurses and our nursing students from the first year itself. You cannot dominate the students and put them in a framework. You're a nurse, you cannot laugh on duty, you cannot do this on duty, in the class you cannot do this. No, please don't put that framework. Give them an open environment. Yes, of course, they cannot giggle in front of the patient. Yes, they can smile with the patient. So today we have to define what we want to be. And you have to help all the professionals, all the nursing leaders have to help the upcoming nurses to decide for them how they want to be. Yes, if I like to be well dressed, why not? What is the problem in being well dressed? What is the issue in being well dressed? What is the problem? We have to identify these things. What is the problem when the nurses are smiling and laughing? If a doctor can do in the same environment, why can't a nurse do? So this comes to our behavior pattern. Then comes our knowledge. Is the nurse having that much knowledge? How much the doctor is having? Is after having the knowledge, is she able to portray in front of the patient? Is she able to talk in front of the patient about her knowledge? And is that knowledge right what she is having? Is it updated knowledge? Is she respected for that knowledge? And how is she being taken by the system? So these are basic questions today, which I thought these are the root cause or root issues which we have to deal on. And we are always running away and from these core issues and going on those superficial issues, Oh, we are not visible. Our work is not being taken care of. Nobody looks at us. The ratios are so less. Now coming to the ratios. So these were the few questions. Do you know, this is, when I saw this, I came across this document during my PhD because I was doing my work on government hospitals. Okay. And that was the time I asked them, like, you're a government hospital, so you must be having a defined SOP for the nurses or a job description. And they said, yes, we have. Okay. And when I went, asked them, what do you have? Can you share with me? They were not sharing with me. Okay. Till the end, they didn't share with me. And I got this thing from a very different department. Okay. This thing is there with all the nurses, but they will not show you because they feel ashamed okay, to show us, to the researchers, they feel ashamed to show. Why? Look at the date. It is 1964. Okay. I was not even born that time. And this is the document which they refer on regular basis in the state government hospitals. So who is to be blamed for this? Okay. And why wouldn't a doctor or an administrator respect us? Why would he respect us? Then comes what WHO says. Okay. What WHO says here is the states with the worst healthcare human resource shortages are also the ones with the worst health indicators and highest infant and child mortalities. Okay. There is a big gap in production, demand, and supply, which is leading to shortage of nursing in all cadres. The number of students applying to degree nursing programs across the nation is decreasing. It is observed in Western Maharashtra that private nursing colleges who are offering degree courses in nursing, nearly 40% seats are remaining vacant. This is the study in 2013. And I don't think there is much difference. Okay? Private hospitals and private nursing colleges are trying to get by hook or crook the students. And the same thing is happening at the state level also, or at the government level also. It is difficult to get nursing students now, because the environment has changed. Why would somebody work in such a critical environment or such a strict environment when they are, just out of college and they want to enjoy life? Why would they come in a hostel and stay under so much of restrictions? That is a very important point for all the nursing educators to think. Now coming to the ratios. Okay. My consultancy did some work, and that time we did some calculations. Okay. So what we understood is that the nursing ratios, okay, which we want today is for 1,000 nurses. Okay, yesterday also Rati ma'am said that we want 2 nurses per 1,000 population. Okay, and WHO standard is 2 nurses. They are planning, India is planning 2.5 nurses per 1,000 population, and our current state is 1.7 nurses per 1,000 population. This is, I'm talking about the national level overall. Okay. Let us come to the Maharashtra level. So Maharashtra has some 12 crores odd population, and we have our registered nurses, which I have got from MNC. They have got some around 2,55,000 nurses, okay, registered. But the active nurses, active money, the nurses who are practicing at the bedside, okay, they become half, 1,10,000. Okay. And now comes to the Maharashtra nursing ratio. Okay, Maharashtra is 1 nurse for 1,126 nurses. Okay, and as per WHO, we need is 2 nurses, and what India is planning is 2.5 nurses. So when we make at the calculation, we understand is that the total nurses requirement as per WHO for Maharashtra, okay, is 2,21,692. Okay, and the shortfall as per WHO is 1,10,000. Okay, so understand this part. We are short by 1 lakh nurses, 10,000 or. In the same way, if you go for by 2.5 ka ratio, then we require nurses around 2,77,000 nurses. Okay, and now if you come to the difference, it is 1,66,000. So who is filling this gap? 1,66,000 is a big amount, and who is filling this gap? If there are no nurses only in Maharashtra, okay, is it that the patients are not getting care? So who is giving the nursing care? Yes, the unorganized sector. the nurses with 6 months degree, 6-month course, okay, after 10th standard, or she may be 10th pass, 10th fail. Okay, so there are so many private organizations who are running these nursing courses. So 1 lakh nurses who are working, who are not actually nurses, who are not actually registered nurses. Okay, but they are acting as nurses, working as nurses in hospitals at all the levels. Okay, in the nursing home, in the hospitals, in the rural areas. These are the ones who are fitting. So understand that 50% of Maharashtra is getting care by registered nurses and 50% of nursing care is given by quacks. But what to do? There is a demand which cannot be filled. But still we have so many nurses who are not getting jobs. Are we prepared for this challenge? And how should we be prepared for this challenge? So we nurse leaders and nurse practitioners, we need to work on the following key issues. Okay. First question came to me was, is population ratio to nurse, which is being given, is it right? It may not be ideal. So the thing what I'm harping on, nursing ratios, it is so nebulous indicator. It is so foggy. Okay. Which is deciding the need of nursing care. So we all nurse researchers or we all nurse leaders have to develop different indicators. Sorry, nursing ratios are not going to help us. The nurse population ratio, which are stated in various books, journals, which we say so easily, 1:6 ratio in hospital. Yes, in the hospital it is fine. But is a nurse giving care only in the hospital? She's giving care in so many various places, communities. Now it is also in the home. Home care nursing is developing. So I think this is a very crude and rough way. This cannot be used. Okay, we have to develop something more. So the present nurses population ratio is based on overall population, which I don't agree. Okay, because there are differences in urban population and rural populations. The needs of urban population is different, rural population is different. The need of hilly and tribal populations is completely different. So are we really talking sense by talking ratios of nurses? Then you look at the spread of nursing population and the education. I mean the colleges, where the colleges are located. Okay. It's very difficult, to understand also like where the nurses are trained, how they are trained, and what is the product which is coming out and how it is going to help the public. Because nursing is not a discipline or a profession which is going to be in a silo. It is a profession which will be interrelated in the system. Okay, it is going to be interrelated in the healthcare also and out of healthcare also, which we have completely forgotten. For us, nursing is only institutional care in the hospital. Sorry. Broaden your horizon, please. So, are we prepared for that? Are we educators giving that type of education? Are we even going into the public domain or into the political economy domain or public health domain or leadership domain? Are we even stepping there? I don't think so. So that is a big challenge. Okay, what we have to think, how are we going to do it? So we need more courses, okay, in public health nursing, in leadership nursing, in nursing administration, in nursing education. Okay, we need a lot of courses in home health care. We need specific higher end courses now. Nurses have to come out of only patient care. And in patient care also, you need to do a lot of things. Now there are courses which are specific to diseases, diabetes. It's a big, huge thing where nurses play a role. It is a big role. And we need nursing colleges who are going to do a course on these conditions, diabetes, heart related issues, preventive care. Okay, we have to go out of the box now. We cannot say that INC gives this, I will do this. Sorry. I'm really sorry. No, I don't think INC is even thinking on that part. 80% of our health sector is private. Agree. And make your own courses, please. Now, where these nurses, after they pass out, are they staying with us? Sorry, as Dr. Doke said. We will go where the red carpet is there. It is so simple. Why should I waste my time here in India if I'm going to get 5 times more salary? Because I don't come from a economic background where I am economically safe or financially completely clear. No, I come from a socio-economic background where I really have to help my parents or help my family with finances. So definitely I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to go out where there is good opportunities. So how are we going to work on this? Creating opportunities wherever you are. As a leader, create opportunities for your next or your present people. Okay, be a leader, talk to your management, raise their salaries, work with them together, tell them, yes, we can do. Identify your markets. So yes, as I said, there is a limitation. Then I also spoke about the colleges. Yes. Then comes is at the professional level, what do we need? Okay. But before going to professional, I will come to personal level. At a personal level, how should I be as a person? I should be a united. I should be in unity. Okay. I should be in unity with myself. Right. I should not be a person who jumps like a butterfly from one flower to other. No. Okay, so the integrity part is the most important part as my core, as myself. Most of the nurses do a lot of bickering. We have to stop that at a personal, because it is not a professional problem, it is a personal problem. You have to stop that. Okay, because bickering has never helped anybody. Have your high self-esteem. I'm a nurse. Proudly say that. Today also, I first say I'm a nurse. Okay, and I'm telling you, people look at me, oh, you're a nurse, and they feel so great about it. Because I feel great about it. Then is standing for the rights. It can be a patient, it can be your fellow beings, it can be your family. Stand for right things only. Please don't wither away. Oh, if I stand for this, then I will be safe. Then I will stand. Though it is wrong, I will stand. No. You have to stand for right only. It is difficult, but it is possible. And with that only you will grow, personally and professionally both. It is difficult, I'm saying that, because I have experienced that. And still I'm experiencing. But still, you may be alone, you will be left out, but stand for the right. Then about knowledge, about self, what are my weaknesses? Okay, at both self and professional work. Identify them and work on them at a self level. Okay, work on your own personality. You should not look the same every year. You should change your hairstyle, change your look, change the way you talk. Try to change the circles what you are moving in. That is the way you will develop your personality. Very, very important. And don't pay heed to anybody what they are saying. It is okay as far as you're growing in a right way and it is helping you and your profession. Do that. Okay. Then comes is professional level. If you call yourself professional, then you should have knowledge, updated knowledge. You cannot say I'm a nurse, I'm practicing in ICU, but I don't know how to take ECG. I'm sorry. You will not be respected. So upgrading yourself with knowledge is the most important. Then comes is associating with professional bodies. Okay? It's very important to be associated. If you're a critical care nurse, there will be so many critical care associations. Associate with them. Now, so online, it is so much regularly possible. Then comes is your CNE. Do a lot of CNEs. Be a patient advocate. Talk for patients' rights. Understand your professional or from a legal angle. If you don't know it, join a course and upgrade yourself. Advocating for nurses and the work, what they do on the professional group is very important. So understand one thing, nursing is a global career. It is a global career and it is for the public interest. I, as a nurse, don't work for a hospital. I work for a patient and patient comes under public health domain. Okay. So it is one thing what we nurses have to be very clear. So being aware of other disciplines' work is also very important. Today in COVID, you have to understand what are the other disciplines doing? What is a social worker doing? What is a physiotherapist doing? Okay, so be aware, be connected, read the current news. Unfortunately, today nurses take their salaries, but they don't know how to use the salaries. I have seen nurses who don't even know their salaries. Okay, so you have to know the current knowledge, current news, your own current affairs, what is happening in your own life first, and then about the current affairs at the external part. Working for the communities. Okay, there are many ways you can help the community. Give health education at least once a month. Make it a point that you give at least educate anybody. Once a month, ask yourself, did I tell about health to somebody? Okay. There are many opportunities. Pick any opportunity anytime. Even if you're going to a bhajiwala, if the bhajiwala is eating tambaku, talk to him. He will laugh at you. Yeah, madam. But still, make it a point. They will respect you after you leave. I'm telling you. Joining community organizations as volunteers. Identify in your area which are the community organizations. Go there, tell them I am a nurse, I'm available for these things. If you want any help from me, I will be available. And now start campaigning for the wrong issues. It could be local, national, and global. Okay. And the most important thing is you have to be a role model for the patients and for the profession. And as a role model, whatever we have did or discussed now in the PPT is the most important. And have a goal. Look in yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, this is the way I want to be, how I want to be. Take your photos, take your selfies, and always look at it and ask yourself, is Swati the nurse, would she like to look like this in front of the patient, like this in front of the community, in front of the global community, local community, national community? Be a role model for yourself and inspire other nurses and the patients for better care, right? And thank you so much. It was a pleasure being with you. I thank all the organizers at MGM for giving me this opportunity, and I thank each and every audience sitting there for patient listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, there are a few questions in the chat box.
Yeah.
Which are the basic needs of nurses and how to overcome or conquer challenges?
Basic needs of nurses, as I told you, every nurse's basic need is going to be very at a personal level. We cannot make a basic need generalized. Okay, so you have to do a lot of exercises on that to identify what is the basic need of a nurse. For me, if you ask me, my basic need is I want a healthy work environment where I can work safely. Okay, I don't know what inspires you. What was the next question, please?
Is there a study on nurses who stood for their rights and have applied their knowledge for professional growth?
I think you should do a lot of Google search now. There are many nurses who are role models in their own fields. Okay? And there are many organizations developed by nurses and run by nurses and founded by nurses. I will not give you any easy answers here. Go on Google, identify, there are many. Go on LinkedIn. There are many nurses who are independently working for the cause. May it be a palliative care, may it be an emergency care, may it be community care, may it be even, there are nurses who have become directors, okay, of movies. Okay, so don't limit yourself in that closed box of the hospital. There is much, much more. And but that you have to identify and find. There are many. You will be surprised. Next.
Next is a suggestion kind like we should have our own nursing leaders in the legislative assembly.
You be your own leader. No, why you want to have a leader? You be your own leader. See, a leader means who? Who inspires you. A leader can be there anywhere. Even a patient can be your leader. Even a doctor can be your leader. Even your teacher can be your leader. Leader is not, I don't know how you define leader. It is not necessary that as a leader, you have to always speak. You have to do also many things, inspire people, bring change. That is a leader. And leader always takes people and moves. Leader is not the person who goes ahead and, acha, mere piche aao. No, sorry, that is not a leader.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. That's all with the questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that thought-provoking section. Very beautifully, you have put forth the challenges nurses face in healthcare profession and also how we have to be prepared for overcoming these challenges. So thank you for your session, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you,
Swati.
ma'am. Thank you so much. Prabha, ma'am, I was really happy to be with you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jyoti. Thank you so much. Jyoti is my senior, okay? 1 year senior from LD College.
Only 1 year senior and all, it does not really make us senior. It's your work makes you senior. Okay.
But thank you so much, Jyoti.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So let's move ahead with the next section of the day. Session 3, Leadership in Change Management Process and its Challenges. So our speaker is Dr. Sharada Ramesh. College of Nursing, Symbiosis International University, Pune, Maharashtra. Madam has completed her doctorate Faculty of Nursing from Sri Ramachandra University, Chennai, and she is a proud alumnus of College of Nursing, CMCH, Vellore. She has nearly 35 years of professional experience. Also, she has to her credit 40 independent research works and has presented nearly 196 research papers. She was invited for faculty exchange to the University of Wisconsin, USA, and had presented various sessions for graduate nurses in 2006. She is an invited editor cum book reviewer for TNAI, national and international journals. She was also one of the international invited panel expert member during 2013 to 16 of Beta Nu Delta, an international Philippines Nurses Society. It was an appointment given by the president. She had been conferred various prestigious awards as a Sigma Theta Tau, Best Research Paper Award 2010, International Conference Canada, Academic Excellence and Outstanding Contribution to Research Award from ICCR 2013, Best Research Paper Award in Worldwide Nursing Conference Singapore 2017, Best Administrator Award 2019, and Best Nurse Educationist Award 2020 by TNAI Pune chapter. So, ma'am, we are happy you're with us today for this national webinar. We welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Welcome, Dr. Sharada Ramesh. Welcome.
Good afternoon. Namaste to all there. It was wonderful listening to all the other speakers. And of course, there's a lot of change right now needed in the professional field. And before I start off, let me ask the delegates, could I check with my sharing of screen? Are you able to do the screen sharing?
Excuse me, ma'am. Your volume is a little bit low.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am, better.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am, it's better, but it's still low only. It will, okay.
Still low? Acha,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
just
Yeah.
check it. Maybe something there. Um,
In your, you will have to adjust in your computer, I think so.
yeah, I'm trying to do that only. For some reason, let me check. However, I can make louder thing. Am I audible now? Am I audible?
Now it is better.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah. Before I start with the presentation, let me, is my PPT visible right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Dear delegates, let's just always, it's my usual trend that the sessions come to me in the afternoon, and it is, we have hyperglycemia and we feel sleepy. I don't know whether it's boon or bane. However, I take it as the stride. And before we move on to this particular topic, let us just do, of course, I cannot make a presentation. That's the limitation of this virtual. However, let us take our 5 fingers. All of you start moving both your fingers. Of course, I'm holding the mic, so I'm unable to do the other hand. You can stretch your 5 fingers, close your fingers, stretch your 5 fingers, and like that you do 10 times quickly on your right side. There's no evaluation, so you can even cheat me, no problem. You can quickly move. Now,
Yes, yes.
10 times you do that, and then move on to your left hand and do the 10 times.
Both
Left hand you
hands
move 10
together.
times. Yeah, both hands together 10
Yeah.
times. Now, after that, now both the hands clap together. All of you clap your hands together. Now, how was your feeling to this session? I know you all felt that it is
Good.
too fast. I was too fast. I didn't wait for you to move on with the 10 counting even. So that's exactly a changes. Probably initially when I said you thought you will relax your fingers, stretch your hands. But when I said it very fast, some of you might have thought, what this lady is doing like this? Is she a robo or something? You didn't even allow me to count 10. You said 10. So that's exactly, my dear delegates, change management is all about. And I'm going to move on with this particular topic. Change, when I say right to left and to both the hands, and then go on count. Now, this is too a fast thing, but change is inevitable. And today's pandemic scenario, we have been, looking at lot of changes that we have in this society. So the change management process and its challenges, some of the presentation overview would be change. All of you know what a change is. All of you must have heard about Kurt Lewis change cycle and need for change and innovation, overcoming the individual vulnerability and decision making, and overcoming managing the change within time and budget, because change brings in lot of time and budget, and dealing with change resistance. Now, what is a change management? If you see this diagram, it's quite quick. First you plan, make some strategy, engage people in that for change, improve that day by day by getting a lot of feedbacks, make a team to execute it properly. If things go little haywire, again you plan, again you do strategy, and there goes the vicious cycle of change management. So change management, in any of the book, the definition says, this is personally basically for the postgraduates who are here. It is a set of principles, techniques, prescriptions applied to the human aspects of execution major change initiatives in organizational settings. Now, with this current pandemic, and I'm sure all the leaders out here have undergone a lot of change process, because we have moved. I come from a person from a person who has never seen a television, who has never seen a phone. I come from such a generation, and now to handle the Gen Z students with mobile applications, and move on with Google Meet, move on with Microsoft Teams, and we had no other options in 2020 except that to you move on with the online classes during the lockdown. So what a big change we have had. But however,
These initiatives were major change initiatives in the organizational settings, especially the colleges, and where the nurses, they were wearing PPE, they couldn't identify each other, they had to write their names on the PPE, whatever they were wearing. And this is how the change has brought in into the organizational settings, and it was too fast, too quick, like how I moved my fingers. So what are the 7 hours of change management? Who raised the change request? Now, in this pandemic, of course, none of us wanted this bigger change, this faster change. But however, the nature brought in this. So you had no other option except to fix into the situation. But usually in an organizational setting, especially when the administrators look at some changes, we do have little bit of planning and strategic movement there. But in situations like what we had in this pandemic, we had no issue like who raised it and what was the reason behind this change. Little did we know about it. And the return required for the change. What would be the outcome of this change? Till now, we are pestering on this point. We do not know how these students, even last week when we were talking, we thought how these nursing students will function in the future, because majority of learning is happening with a hybrid, with the conditions SOPs laid here. And how are they going to perform? Risks involved in the requested change, and who is responsible to create, test, and implement this particular change? There was no time given to us last year, 2020. And the resources required to deliver the change. Many institutions, earlier, Madam was beautifully telling about the private organizations. Many standalone colleges were struggling to bring in the Google Meet because it costs you crores of money. So where is the resource for them to bring such a wonderful Microsoft? It is all a Zoom link also. You have only a free link for 45 minutes. How much will the management spend for this? So resources required to deliver the change, and relationship between suggested change and other changes. Suggested change was you can take Microsoft Teams classes for the students. I'm sure the students must have had this. But what are the other changes? Do they have a support system, a mobile 4G application in their mobile, which will support a Zoom? Do they have a quality one in their hand? They are sitting in some gown and listening to our classes. So these things have become the very big 7 hours of change management which we have to look into. What are the change management tools? There are anything that can alleviate tensions that arise during this shift. It could be a software, it could be a staff. And we had both last year. We had to go with the software. We also had to train. Some of us had to upskill ourselves using the all these wonderful web platforms. Little did we know about this. Though here and there, I'm sure the deemed university principals will know something about COIL and MOOCs and things like that. But I wonder how these principals and the leaders who are sitting in some very remote areas, how they could think of these tools that are used for a teaching in the classroom. How are they going to do? OSCE, little did people know about this. Not many of the nursing leaders and teachers were trained for this. Maybe in the city and the good, wherever the input is given, those teachers must be doing it very well. But I really doubt, we don't blame them. See, there is no time for us to do a blame game here. Did they really understand these tools? Were they able to implement it? Were they able to structure their programs? There lies our question. Now, some of the successful change management process, the elements looks into readiness of assessments. We did not have the least time we had for the readiness of assessment in 2020. I'm sure you all will agree. Suddenly, March, at around March first week, they said it is going for a lockdown. We did not have any assessment plan as to, we just thought it would be 20 days or maybe hardly 15 to 20 days we had come out. And communication. And this, I'm sure you all must be knowing, remembering in 2016 to 17 when we had this demonetization also. All of us are running around with the money that we had in our hand. We never had the least idea when night 8 p.m. they told we had, big amount of 500 rupee note in our hand, and we were running to the bank. So the readiness, when the change management process is too quick, it is a very difficult thing for the people. So it has happened in 2020 also. The pandemic played its own game to the human lives and the human practices. Communication and communication planning, little did we know about it, but today you see it's a seamless flow of webinar what we see. Every college is able to, within a matter of 1 year, we were able to pick up and bounce back to our normalcy. And you get sponsorship activities and the roadmap that you make. And morning I had talked with Dr. Jyoti, and she said, ma'am, you join at around 12 o'clock. Maybe we can try with the sharing of the video or the slides that you had made. See, all these things have happened now, but last year when we were thinking in terms of doing, we never had the least thing that we thought about in webinar. When even I did a webinar in a college, we had invited the speakers across the globe. They were on the web platform, but we were in the college. All of us were attending the conference. So sort of a hybrid webinar it was. Some were physical, some were virtual. But never did I realize that all 100% will be on a web platform. None of us realized that. And change management training. Did we ever have a training for all these things? It was all very quick. And hats off to all the nursing leaders. I think it is an agile and a dynamic profession. So we could quickly move on to the kind of scenario that is given to us today. And almost all the principals have come out with wonderful webinars, and they are touching across the globe to make webinars. It just took 1 year time, and we are here, bounce back. Training, development, and delivery. Many of us learned how to use the Microsoft Team, how to use the Google Meet, how to put the assignments, how to correct the papers. All these things we have learned. Resistance management, many did not like. Honestly speaking, initially I also never liked this. Even now, I'm a very traditional and a conventional teacher. I still would love to have children on the classroom. Even this conference, I would have preferred to be on the physical platform rather than the web platform where you meet people in flesh and blood. So that many leaders would agree to me if I say this. Maybe you might think I'm conventional, but sometimes it gives you a good feel good factor. However, there will be resistance for these things, and employee feedback and corrective actions. When we had to take OSCE, lot of mock drills and things are happening because it's not just an OSCE. You have to look into the social distancing norms, whatever the SOP laid by the PMC. So we had to take a lot of this feedbacks and make a corrective action and do the OSCE. OSCE earlier we have done it. It's not new OSCE, we know that. But with the SOP of the social distancing, we did find it very, very challenging. I won't say difficult, I would call it as challenging. More of time factor that was involved. So I am not going to move the leadership because the next wonderful speaker is there to speak about leadership. However, change is always brought because of a good leadership, and the good leadership has has to have a very good communication skills. Then the change is seamless. You will not have any difficulty in the change process. And the major thing that can bring into the leader is project plan. If the leader has got a wonderful project plan, even this conference, you see, it's the plan of the leader, and the plan is very well laid with the time frame, everything, and the technical support. So unless the leader knows what to be done, the code, and then the software helps you, then it becomes a successful change, and the webinar goes on like this. So this happens in every front of our whatever change process we are doing. Why I'm taking these things is these are easily accessible. Some of the novice nurses who might be hearing this, I don't want to move on with a higher level of this thing. Just look at your nearest level and then take those points. And the same thing you can apply to the macro positioning of the project plan. Active listening is very important. communication, which should be a two-way process, research. Research has to be done whether this plan is working well. Strategic thinking and leadership is, of course, the cornerstone of any change management process. Measurement and analysis, whether you have really been successful in this particular whatever you have done, whatever the project and that we have laid down. And of course, as I told you, communication with any other aspect also, communication is important. Same thing applies in the change management process also. You need to have a very good communication process. Otherwise, it becomes a threat, and the employees and the people, the stakeholders will think that it is a big threat for them, and they would resist the change. And change management process, this I am sure any textbook gives you the steps of change management process: request for change and impact, approval, implement, and review and reporting. This could be easy for you when you write your management paper for the postgraduates and the fourth year nursing students. So that is the reason I have brought this. And the some of the steps that you have around 8 steps. First of all, you should have urgency in creating a change process, and it's only successful if you really want it. So pandemic has really brought us this change. Why a webinar? You could have thought of something else. We had to bring in this and build a team. Of course, see even this conference or the webinar, if the team is not there with Madam Prabha, she may not be able to do this process so seamlessly. And you should have a vision of that and communicate the vision. Remove the obstacles. What are the obstacles? For example, in this webinar or an OSCE, you might be having certain obstacles like the as I told you, the social distance norms that we had. And these are obstacles. Try and remove. It could be in the personnel that you have there, the thought process could be an obstacle, or it could be a software. The system may not support that. So what are the obstacles? From where it comes? All these things has to be made a checklist and identify how to remove these obstacles. Go for quick wins and let the change mature. That's what earlier when I said you change your hand, right hand to left hand, the change was too quick. I didn't allow you to mature. You should get the habit of using that 5 fingers into flex and do the exercise, which I never gave you. So any change should have the time span to make it mature and integrate the change and embed it in whatever you are doing. The famous Kotter's 8-step change model is there in any book, where creating a climate change and engaging and doing the implementation. So there are 8 steps, and this also I'm sure any textbook or any way that you do, you will get it. Now the good change management strategy would be planning, of course, transparency. Whenever you do a change, you tell them why you are doing and what for, what would be the benefit for the institution, what will be the benefit for the stakeholders. Unless you know this, it is very difficult to manage this. Honesty. The network is not working, then it is a honest take that we have to tell. But why are we so sort of very apprehensive today? Because we don't know, sometimes the online exams the students are copying, then we are taking it to a plagiarism of a or a proctor software we are putting to check on their honesty. All these things happen because somewhere there was a breach in this. So that could be one of the reasons. So whichever change management process we are doing, honesty on both the ends should be there. Either it be the stakeholder or the person who is putting the leader who is going bringing the change, and it has to be communicated properly, and it should involve the employees. Employee participation is very, very important. You have to write a very good change plan to bring in any change. But as I told you, in this pandemic, little did we have an idea about this. We never had a change management plan when it initially started. But now, yeah, we can think, we are doing lot of research on this and taking it in a different perspective altogether. But when it started 2020 March April, little bit did we know about this. We never had a change management plan. We were just pushed into that like a tsunami wave. It has taken us into the situation. So neither the students nor the teachers knew about these changes. But today, I guess many of them have gone into a seamless flow of this change. So that again is an important part. But if it is a planned one, then we know that we have to have a very good sketch of what we are going to do, and also identify the scope of the change, and identify the stakeholders and the change management team. Whom are you going to satisfy? Who are your stakeholders? Will they be really happy about this particular change? And change management team, who's going to actually execute it? They should be actually assertive, also ethical and moral, and some amount of empathy the change management team should have. Otherwise, the team will not succeed in this change. That's exactly what we had when we did this last year, online hybrid classes and things like that. When we had gone into that, the first thing we checked on the students was, do you have a 4G mobile? And many states, the government had given them a 4G mobile, a free 4G mobile is given for the students, to the school children. They are the worst hit in this particular pandemic, where they cannot go to the school. So stakeholders and the parents, can you imagine the apprehension the parents will have on this particular change? So clarify the expected benefits by doing so. Now the television channels, see, within 1 year, the television government channels have come out with lot of educational channels and materials. So now the parents have got the apprehension relieved. So the benefits to be explained. Why are you sitting at home and studying? So once the children knew about it, once the parents knew about it, then the seamless flow started coming. Otherwise, earlier last year, mid of the 2020, we had lot of apprehension about this. And milestones as well as costs should be cleared and outlined, and create a change management communication process. So this is again one more. Unless you have a very good change plan, you will never look into a success during the change. And what are the types of change management? There are different types, where you have transitional, developmental, and transformational. Many of you must be knowing that. And some of the examples for this is implementation of a new technology. Currently, we are doing an implementation of new technology, whether it be a webinar, whether it be an online classes, whether it's a MOOCs. We are using a new technology. Little did we know about this, and this is going to stay with us forever anymore. So unless otherwise we learn this, we will not be able to move on with this thing, because the kind of the pandemic that we have right now, maybe it will move on till 2023, or even 20 up till 2025 we will go. By then we might be forgetting the the chalk and talk method of learning, and it could be only the online platforms. Who knows? We do not know. Mergers and acquisitions. So what have you done in this? We have taken the, we have got the licensed version of Zoom. We have purchased the Microsoft Teams. Crores of money was spent on this, just to strengthen that. Why did we do that? Had we not do that, then see, once you use your WhatsApp or your mail IDs, I'm sure many of you get lot of advertisements coming in, spam messages coming in. But why is it that when we are using such a webinar, why are you not getting any advertisement on insurance or banks or movie tickets or anything of that sort? Because we have got it as a licensed version, and you got a very good cyber protection because of this. And this is what we call it as acquisition. And change in leadership, of course, the next component is change in leadership. As I told you, many of us are old teachers, you should call, where we learned with a chalk and talk method, and we prefer that way. And today the leadership herself has to change, arise to the situation, do an upskilling on all these technology. So definitely the leadership has changed very much as far as nursing is concerned. And change in organizational culture. Today, even both the once upon a time, I remember my teachers, you cannot afford to absent even one day. And we used to compensate those days. But today, if the student is feeling sick, then we have to give her a long rope. We have to wait. We have to take the RT-PCR, home quarantine, or a hospital admission, wherever it is. So the attitude of the leaders also have changed. Once upon a time, we never thought it. Why once upon a time? 2019, we thought the student has to come back and compensate those days. From 2020, the game changer. Leadership also has changed. Organizational culture also has changed, because we said, okay, you submit your assignment through online, through the Google Meet, through the Schoology, whichever platform apps that you're using. And these are very safe. It is all proctor protected, cyber protected. So there is no question on the data acquisition. And you are not suspecting her, because even if she copies, you have the plagiarism check. You can put a plagiarism check and evaluate her. And we have learned it. So organizational culture has changed it. We never had this sort of a thing. And times of crisis, of course, this is a times of crisis, and we have to change our attitude and our way of perception and thinking. So when you are doing a change, of course, you need innovation. Innovation comes, the change will come only with the innovation. And whether it is successful or not, it depends on your innovation. Actually, our former president, Dr. ABJ Abdul Kalam, he said in one of the award function, innovation is a celebration of creativity, he said. And how much of innovation today we have done with this pandemic? I'm sure many of you will be able to give a very big case history on what all innovations we have thought about. The e-posters, the game playing, the SNA activity, that where we have played the chess and the carom on the online platform, we have done it. So that's absolutely an innovation. And commercialization, of course. When we say digitalization, it is commercialization also. So to sum up, innovation is equal to invention and commercialization. The digital platform was earlier there. Apps was just for WhatsApp or something. But today, did we ever think of it that it will become a very big educational tool? And if you see many of the apps, the Byju's and all, they have done a wonderful job on the educational field. They invention and commercialization and made it as a big partner of education for the children. So that's a wonderful innovation that we should see into, or make a celebration of it. And discontinuous, there are forms of innovation. It discontinuous, continuous, dynamically continuous innovation. This, if it is sudden and a dramatic change, it is a discontinuous. But at one point it also becomes dynamic, as we have in the current scenario. The whatever the digitalization currently that we are using will be there, will be staying forever with us. And because we are going to treat with the school children, imagine the +2 students who are going to do an online exam or whatever this year, are the students next year coming for nursing. So we should be prepared to cater to such a student group. And it is going to be dynamic for the leaders here. And because it is a sudden, it will have a huge impact on the way we think on the lifestyle. So the consumers have to adjust and adapt. Consumers could be both the student and the teacher and the organization, everyone. It depends on the kind of vice versa activity that we are going to do. And innovation is if you have to think of change, innovation will happen. And any change requires an effort. All of us agree to that. We didn't come to this web platform just like that. Lot of efforts we had put in this, and it generates resistance. Definitely it will generate a resistance. So it is the leaders work to satisfy the team to come up with this, and needs a vision and leadership. Without this, innovation can never happen. And innovation and performance in harmony, if it is there, then the change is accepted. If innovation and the performance is not going hand in hand, there is no disharmony in that, then changing, it will be a tough process for us. It can never happen. You will never have a smooth flow. So that is where the leadership plays a very important role. So now let us look into, when we say change process, is the government of India looking at this? Because we are here, let us look into what is the political attribute to this. The India is looking at a potential talent, you know, to thrive in a digital economy. Don't say nurses are not there. We also play because healthcare delivery is a very big system. Earlier speakers had told about the statistics so beautifully, and we are a major player in the digitalization, whether it be in the hospital sector, whether it be in the community sector, whether it be in the educational field. So digitalization will set a major role player in this particular pandemic and in the learning that we are going to do, which will be the driving revenue for the organization, whether it be telecounseling. Many hospitals have moved on to the telecounseling. Who's sitting and doing the counseling in the hospital today? So is it not a major driving revenue force in the hospitals? Yes, it is. Even the community health awareness, we have had back-to-back programs in our college. We have done a health awareness program through the Zoom link. Little did we know, I'm a community health nurse. Little did I imagine about going on an online platform, not going visiting to the community, but still giving a health awareness. Productivity. Every organization with the digitalization will want a productivity because they are spending crores of money on this. Security, as I said, the cyber security, from where you're buying, how much of net is your net is protected. All of us in our laptop, we have the net protector. So is it the same way in the hospital? Because you don't want the stealing of the data from your hospital, from the management portal of your hospital, or the MRD from your hospital, or it could be from the college. How good are you secured there? And for which lot of innovation and skill is needed? Unless you combine technology and business and mix the relevant hard and soft skills today, we cannot thrive in this increasingly competitive world. Many nurses think it may not. Earlier speaker so wonderfully said nurses should update. Yes, many nurses still feel that it is not the need of the hour for nurses. But dear delegates, let me tell you, we should now mix up with hard and soft skills. Otherwise, the political will is also, requesting the same thing. So we cannot be talking old conventional thoughts anymore. Ministry for Electronics and Information Technology 2 years ago had made a digitally enabled change underway. They said $1 trillion digital opportunity was given across the country, looking into the country's potential to become a $1 trillion digital economy. And that's exactly what they have done now. Just 2 years ago, they came with this plan. And imagine, why did not India succumb to this pandemic? There are other countries which lost their economy, but we had picked up our economy to a great extent. After the budget, if you see, our GDP has gone up very nicely. The shareholding has gone up very nicely. So why the country of this, dynamism? Why did we not? Probably because 2 years ago itself they had told that digital opportunity is a very big player, and they started working on it. And the game changer was the pandemic, which accelerated the pace of change, fueling the demand of the new set skills. Now, who made money in this pandemic? Tell me. Who made? The one who made the mask, the one who made the PPE. Other than that, the digital platforms, Netflix, Amazon, crores they have made. Their $1 trillion they have made. How? Because they had exploited the innovation, commercialization, invention plus commercialization. They had the thought of innovation. Now, why is that all big star and celebrities are looking at bringing their movies on the online platform? Why are they looking at? Because it's a quick bug. Who is going to go to the theater now? You see the even your beauticians. How many of you go to the beauty parlor today? You just take your app, click the urban clap, and you get the beautician to your house. Now, these are the players who had done wonderfully with the digitalization. So, you need a lot of new skills. Same thing is happening with the nurses now. Whoever had done it will be the winner in this particular scenario. And made learnability extremely important. Deep domain knowledge continues to be critical. See, we have a wonderful, anatomage in our this thing. It costed some 5 crores, 6 crores. But to use that anatomage, many students have started visiting. If you have to use the anatomage, it's not a cadaver, it's a virtual one. If you have to look into an ocular nerve or something like that, then you have everything on the virtual. You can touch and feel that. It's a board like this. And you can move it here, there, and all. You want to touch the retina, you can touch and see. But if you have to know that, first you should know the anatomy and physiology of the eye. If you have to know the anatomy and physiology of the skin, that's what we say. The core deep domain will remain with the digitalization. It will never die. People who have the core will succeed in digitalization, more so with the doctors. Already they are doing wonderful laparoscopic surgeries. Unless they know the proper anatomy and physiology, they will never be able to do that. And you should have a lot of data literacy, technology design, analytical thinking, and innovation and active learning. And today it is an inclusive learning that we are looking at. Nursing should go globally integrated. Why are we looking at OSCE? Because OSCE is the kind of test that is done in the European countries. If you have to enter nursing field there, you should know OSCE. So unless you get your training here, OSCE, you will not be able to perform there. You will not succeed their competitive exams. So inclusive learning is very, very important. You have to able to collaborate and understand cultures, be sensitive. Equitable is very crucial, and thriving in the new normal calls for an agile. You should be like flowing like a river. The river doesn't stop anywhere. It moves, it rolls, it takes the dirt sometimes, it takes the good things along with that, it takes the lily, water lily with it. It takes whatever we put there. So agile and curiosity based mindset is what is required. High levels of adaptability is requested at this point in time if you have to look into an inclusive learning. The market needs for the nursing education, what is that you need? Sharper focus on talent that is multimodal. You have to have a sharper focus, ability to switch roles with ease. Already we have moved from a conventional teaching to a modern method of teaching. Who taught us? We did move. We had an agile and adaptable nature with us. Leverage cloud, cyber, and data, intelligent automations and technologies to create software, and right technical skills is what is called for in the nursing education also. Digitalization is causing a paradigm shift in the nursing, and we have to focus a broad-based inclusive training as well. Now, hiring nurses, what is Government of India looking at? The ability to innovate, use the strategies coherently, demonstrate agility, transform hospital businesses and themselves. This is exactly what earlier speaker Dr. Swati ma'am was talking about. Transform yourself. The initial part of her questions. How did you transform from the novice nurse to an expert? How are you doing that? Are you bringing business on board? This is what is required by the nurses. It's not no more just a care that you're looking at. And leverage the new digital technologies, design, think, and implement, catalyze change, willing to learn continuously. If you have all these components, hiring of nurses, if we can prepare with all these components, hiring of nurses will never become difficult, especially global nurses. No more, it is out of the box. It is beyond the box thinking that is needed with the nurses, more so with the leaders. So you need reskilling and upskilling. It's both that is requested at the moment for the leaders, and upskilling and reskilling for the existing workforce. And we should learn to use a lot of AI, artificial intelligence, and automation, and mobilize the team to deliver with agility. These agility and adaptation 2 years all of us should keep in mind. Unless you're agile, you cannot be talking about the old story and say, you know, in 1947 we did like this, in 1990 we did like this. This will not anymore help us, especially with this digitalization. Workforce is ahead of the curve, embracing next generation. So what is expected from the nurses? How are we preparing these nurses in the schools and colleges? Wellness should be there. Nurse should be, you know, staying healthy and fit. Soft skills should be there. Technical skills should be there, and we should also understand the end-to-end customer journey. So it's not an easy job anymore. We need to look into all these domains when we prepare the nurse. That's why I said it's not just anymore out of the box thinking, it's beyond the box thinking that we have to look into. So the vulnerability and decision making, I'm sure the individual ways of thinking and decision making, your values, experience will definitely put a challenge or an obstacle in your decision making on bringing in a change and management process. However, you have to make the decision making with a better removing the resistance and bringing in the resilience, though it is a risky business. It is a threat to everyone. However, the leadership if it is dynamic, agile, and adaptable, then it's going to be quite easy in the colleges as well. And you have to believe that the proposed is not a bad idea. You should make them understand on the board. There are so many fears about change. All of you know that the failure is the major thing that we are looking at when we say change. We thought you will be a failure because many people would have told you that. But however, it is not so. If the leadership is able to give these aspects in a presentable way, the perceived threat of the team is reduced. And how to overcome this? Of course, education, communication, participation, involvement, facilitation and support, negotiation and agreement, manipulation and exploitation, explicit and implicit cohesion. So managing change with time and budget, of course, today with the webinar, lot of time is saved, lot of money is saved. Initially we thought it won't, but now we understand it is, bringing in lot of better budget. Like, you don't travel anymore. That is a saving lot of time and effort of the people. So it has become a good thing. That is why we look at these webinars, and students of a hybrid or a coil or a MOOCs learning seems to be very good now. It's quite easy. With a click of a button, you get it. So there are 10 steps of updating a project budget. Start with the work completed, compare your budget of actual spending, scrutinize the scope, determine how the change order will affect the cost, negotiate with your client, renegotiate with outside, be transparent, design a new work plan, continue to manage a project scope and manage client expectations. Already we have done this, and that's why we are successful with the webinars across the country. Everyone is doing a webinar because they found that the time and the budget is wonderfully managed on a web platform. But when it started, little did we have an idea about this, and we thought this may not bring in a good thing. But now we know, yeah, it brings in a lot of change. It's still a wonderful thing to talk on the web platform. And define your goals and objectives. Of course, without that, you cannot do any change management process. So managing, of course, a change of resistance, participation and involvement. If they have brought to the table and spoken about this change, probably they will understand that. As I told you, the cornerstone is communication and of course education. Leadership matters a lot for any change process, and negotiation and agreement is very important. Timing of the change. If this webinar, see, last year when I went to MKSS around the same time, I think February, when I spoke about the Gen Next, and I said to the delegates, in around the corner, maybe 2 to 5 years, we will have everything on the web platform. I had a lot of questions about it. But once the webinar started in 2020, mid of 2020, 2, 3 of the delegates who had taken my contact, they contacted me on the WhatsApp and said, ma'am, what a wonderful vision that you said. To within 2 to 3 years, within almost 2 to 3 months, we started off the web. So timing of the change is also, it depends upon the situation. So pandemic has brought it. Leadership, I'm not going to talk about. The next presenter is going to present on it. But however, leadership is the one who gets people involved. And without that, there is no change that is going to happen. So old way is gone and we are moving with a new way. We have to accept it. Now, what is the take home message of this? The changing needs of the industry have resulted in all these things, and the nursing schools and the colleges are expected to bring in a change management process, bringing a new talent pools. And that's exactly imbibing to the government of India and across the global demand of nurses. We need new talent pools. And are we ready as a school and college is the question that has to be answered by each one of us, more so with the leaders and all the delegates. So I feel this is the right time. The change process in the schools and colleges, as the earlier speaker also said, why are we looking at only the INC designated syllabus? It doesn't give you the new talent pools. It doesn't tell you about the hard and soft skills that has to be developed. To some extent it covers, but it doesn't give you everything. So are we bringing in that to the platform? I mean, that's a point to ponder by all the leaders and the nurses. And are we ready to bring in these talent pools who will be hired and who will be also having inclusive learning to bring the care to the global platform. So unless we answer this, I don't think the changing needs of the industry will result in a positive way. So as the Socrates says, the secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. So change is inevitable. Let us move on. Like this movement, with agility and dynamism, if you move, the change is accepted by everyone. And there is nothing wrong with change if it is in the right direction, what Winston Churchill quotes. And here I quote, thank you. May I thank MGM, trustees and the management, Dr. Prabha Silla and her team, Dr. Jyoti and all her wonderful team members for inviting me to this webinar and presenting few of my views to this, and I'm open to the questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions? Okay, there are no questions in the chat box, ma'am. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable.
Or they didn't understand. So I take it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
So thank you for sharing your valuable input. Need of change, challenges faced in executing them. So thank you so much, ma'am. So moving to the last session of the day, role of leadership in change management. So next speaker of the day is Dr. Pramila Lee. Professor and HOD, Medical Surgical Nursing, CMC Vellore, Tamil Nadu. Madam has completed her doctorate in Faculty of Nursing with nearly 29 years of teaching experience. She has been working in CMC since 1984 at various capacities and has contributed towards nursing service, education, and research. Her clinical achievements include she has designed single and double lumen feeding tubes, which is currently in use in CMC and other hospitals also. The Nursing Excellence Certification for the nursing service. She has coordinated and managed COVID care during COVID-19 pandemic. Her overseas experience includes she had worked at RAK Medical and Health Sciences University, UAE, 12 weeks of teaching experience at Örebro University, Sweden. She has also experience in liver transplant nursing at Queen Elizabeth Hospital, UK. She has presented 89 papers in national and 7 in international conferences. And also she has published 42 research articles in national and international index peer-reviewed journals. So we welcome you, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Prabha, Dr. Jyoti, and all the other organizing committee members for inviting me to be a resource person in your webinar and to share my knowledge on the topic, role of leadership in change management. You're going to project the slides.
Do you need us to project, ma'am?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think as we are waiting for the slides to come, like you had a detailed presentation on the process of change management by Dr. Shata, and I'm going to take you through the role of a leader during the change management. And especially we are in a time of that pandemic, because all of us know change management can be planned or unplanned. And in the last 1 year, we have been going through unplanned change management. So, I mean, I'm also happy to see, I had just completed my term as the nursing director of the CMC hospital. So I was very much there in the management of pandemic. So with that experience, I'm going to share my experience with, that experience I consider to be an opportunity to share with you at this time. So what is a leadership? I think as I logged in, I heard Dr. Swati talking about leadership is influencing. Yes, all of us know it's the You're changing the slide, sorry, or are you giving the control here?
I'm changing the
Sargesia,
slide, ma'am.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I'm changing the slide.
So leadership is not something that comes with position or power. Very clearly, it says leadership is a process of influencing others to achieve the desired goals. So it's a leader through their own ability, they are able to influence the subordinates and the fellow beings to accomplish the goal. This will happen only when the leader demonstrates true leadership. Now, why are we talking about leadership here? For a successful change in any organization, leadership is very important. When I talk about leader, I'm not talking about only leader who is sitting right on top. In fact, everyone is a leader. For the work and the area where you can, if you can influence other, you are a leader. So for a successful change management, leadership is very important. Leaders are also known as champions of change. That's because of this. Because they are the people who keep the process of change going on and getting people to do their best. That is what the responsibility of a leader. Because a leader understands the complexity of the change and they pay attention to individuals' behavior. In the context, they develop strategies, protocols, structures. Now, this is something vital for the change management to be effective. That is why I said change management focuses on people. So now you understand the leader's responsibility. If you have to get that focus, you need to influence people. Now, what should a leader do when the leader is leading a change? If the change management has to become successful, there are 7 tasks the leader has to do. One is sense making, visioning, sense giving, aligning, enabling, supporting, maintaining momentum. I'll just explain each one of that, what it means. What is sense making? Now, it's next slide, please. The sense making means trying to understand what's going on. So, during the process, in a change management, the leader tries to understand. So, the leader has to know what the current situation is. So, need to know what's going on. Only then you will be able to make further planning. So in a leadership, we always talk about SWOT analysis. So even at the time of change management, as you move into the change, what are the opportunities that you have? What are the threats that you have? If I have to take it, I think I would take the example of pandemic management. Now, if you have to go back exactly a year, 11 months back, we were in the situation, we were not sure what was going on. So as leaders, I think especially as leaders of the college or the nursing service, leaders had to see what to do, how to do. I know, of course, it's towards the patient care in the hospital side, whereas in the colleges, what do we do with the students? How do we go about the exams and learning and go on? So we need to understand what is the situation. That includes not only in your own area, it's in and around. So that exhibits, as a leader, you need to understand. So I'm sure last year, 11 months back, we were trying to understand what is COVID-19? How is it? What's happening? How do we care for ourselves? So during the process, now as we are planning, I'm going back to 11 months back when the pandemic hit us, when the institution decided we are going to provide beds for COVID care. So when the government came up and asked for the beds, our institution said 150 beds that we will allot. So from the nursing, now there are a lot of different opinions that went around. So what did we feel? Yes, it's an opportunity that is given to us to do our best at the time of pandemic. And how do we do? But at the same time, we have the threat. What is it? It's a threat of acquiring infection. We know that the fear and anxiety that prevail. But went on visioning. So what is visioning? Plan for future. Now we know that as a leader, we never plan for only today's activity. You always have to keep thinking ahead. What need to be done? You need to be proactive. So today I would say very proudly, in CMC, we were able to manage COVID care so well. I know many of you may be aware, we were recipients of several awards by the country, but that was only possible because of the proactive planning. So as I said, when we began with the pandemic, even before we got our first patient in the hospital, we decided which are the beds, which area of the hospital that we are going to allocate for COVID care. And I'm not going into detail, but all of you know what are the various aspects to be taken care with related to that. And it was a time of lockdown that came along with that. So how do we do? At least for the COVID care. Now, if you are going to give additional 150 beds, what about the equipment? What about the staffing? So it's the proactive planning. So that is what is the visioning. I think that is important. So I want to tell you very proudly, it was so easy for us to manage. From 150 beds that we planned, we moved up to 900 beds to meet the needs of COVID care, and then which included 100 ICU beds. Never once we felt that we were short of manpower. Never we felt we were short of equipment, all because it was all because of the advanced planning. Now, it is not, as I would say, it is not a credit to any one single individual. As we go on, you will understand it's a teamwork. So what is the sense giving? It means the third step, it is communicating the vision. Yes, as a leader, you may plan. It's a leader never works individually. You work as a team. Now, it's a team effort. So therefore, it's important to communicate our vision to others. So everybody knows what's going on. I recollect the several meetings that we had, not just in nursing, in the institution, for people to understand why we are agreeing to care for COVID patients, COVID care. Why are we taking? Because being a private institution, it was optional, but still, why did we agree to do that? So I think it was when the communication, when people understand the importance of it, you find that there is a better cooperation. There is opportunity for them to give a feedback. Now, when there is a proper communication, it is possible to win that commitment because they also feel that they are part of it. Now, nobody feels, oh, it's a management responsibility or it is the leader's responsibility. Every individual in the institution or every nurse in the nursing department feels it is our responsibility. But that will come only with communication. I heard Shartha also insisting a lot on communication. I think communication and teamwork are, I would say, one of the two main ingredients for the success of any of these change management. So there has to be a constant communication. How did we do that? It was a time no meeting was allowed. And of course, we talked about the, like virtual communication. But apart from that, in nursing, we developed several WhatsApp groups. So constant communication. We had a beautiful system that every morning as administrators, we met, we reviewed what happened and what to do. So there was a team planning that happened, a lot of coordinated work that went on within the institution. So that was communicated within nursing by the nursing people immediately. So from top to level, everybody knew what was going on, what our plans are. So that is the, it's not just about the plans side by side. There were different group work. So people working on protocols, and then at the same time working on how do we encourage our staff? Because I mean, all of you know, 11 months back, the anxiety, fear. And I want to tell you, one of the things from nursing, what we did, what we felt, it was very helpful. Probably I want to tell all of you, it is because the month of March, that is, I think we never even got a hadn't even received our patient. We started training. Because one of the things what we realized, we felt now the suddenly PPE was something people were not used to using PPE, something different. And there is a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of unknown fear about COVID-19. So what we did, we had organized continuous competency training in a hall where you can keep 250 participants. We kept 30 participants with social distancing. It was a 2 days training continuously that happened from the month of March. So what did we do? We taught them what is COVID-19. And then we also taught from the patient perspective, because by then, over the time, I mean, initially we started with COVID-19, and then we started about PPE demonstration and preparing videos, giving it. But then we realized people needed little more part of it, you know, a little more teaching on that. So initially it was not really a one-on-one. And then later, by end of March, we started having these classes, what I mentioned. It became a 2 days classes where we talked about, apart from COVID-19, we talked about what are the psychological aspects, because we felt how the patients felt when they came into hospital. So how important it is for the nurses to meet the psychological care. It is not just the physical care. So separate aspect was dealt with them. And then also, we did not miss out the welfare of the nurses. So we talked about how do we take care. We had developed several welfare activities for them. So communicated, how do we see? And I think we gave an impression, a feeling to them, we are there, we are with them. And I want to say the leaders were also with them in the every clinical area. It was not just the staff who were left alone. So they had the confidence that they were not alone. So, and PPE, we had prepared a PPE kit that would just mimic the actual kit, because we know because of the cost, you can't use wasted. So we had a kit, we had prepared about 40 kits. And whenever, I mean, it was a batch of 20. So they would be given those kits to handle and see what it is. And they learned to try it out, do it. And finally, an assessment was done. Until the nurse was 100% competent, she was not allowed to go into the COVID care area. And I want to tell you that reduced a lot of anxiety among the nurses, because they felt confident. They knew that they could take care of themselves, and that really helped them a lot. The next aspect, it is the aligning. Yes, the aligning, it's a kind of gives us a sense of direction, because it's the responsibility and authority are shared. Like the next level, because as I said in the beginning, it is not just by any one-man show. You have every level people with clear-cut responsibilities and authority very clearly given to them, so we all can work together ultimately to achieve the goal. So when authority and responsibility is given, people are happy to be part of the team. The next aspect is enabling. Now, enabling is by empowering others. So what do we do to empower others? Now, are they clear about their role? Now, role clarification is something very important in a change management. So each one is to be aware what their responsibilities are. And as I said, along with the responsibility, what are the authority? For example, if the ward managers were given the responsibility of managing PPE, they could decide what PPE to be given to whom, and there were clear-cut policies, protocols. So they felt good. So they had, I mean, whatever they request, it was supplied. So they were given the authority to indent the number, what they felt it was needed for them. So there was a clear-cut role about it. Then creating structures and frameworks, because it's very important even at the change is sudden, there has to be a constant development of protocols, because I mean, like 10 months back, all of us know, especially I think in the mid year, when the numbers started coming, and then as publications came out, the management changed in COVID. Like all of us know, in the beginning, it was all intubation, later it became non-invasive and the proning. So we have to keep like changing our protocols according to what is going around. That is why I said in the beginning, the leader, it is important that you be aware of what is going on. So the protocols were developed in every aspect, from, like, I'm focusing more on nursing part, of course, in the institution, in every aspect. So for nursing, from admission till death care, now that was available for them to view at any given time. So which builds the confidence of people. Then the next aspect, delegate task to the teams rather than individual. When there is a change that happens, as I said, no credit to any individual person. It is for a teamwork. So we should encourage more of a teamwork rather than one individual. Of course, every individual together we form a team, but the team is given more information. I mean, more important. Then giving access to information. I was talking about protocol policies. So is it available for everyone to see? I mean, in our institution, it was there in the intranet. Every nurse with a doubt, she could click for COVID-19 protocols or any other information. Delegate task. When we give task, we have learned now you have to give task that is also challenging. So at the time of COVID management, how did we make it challenging for nurses? Now nurses are of different capacity. So we had coordinated our care as level 1, 2, 3. So the nurses, according to their competency, they were posted. So nobody feels frustrated. If they are not used to COVID care, they had come in. So then they were at the level 1 level, because all of us are aware that hospitalization was mandatory. So the patients who are stable, they were in the hospital. So the level 1 was cared by such. But whereas the nurses who are competent, they were put in a level 2 or level 3. When the need for ICU beds were more, the people who can manage, who are still in level 2, were taken again for a 2 days of training on NIV, proning, and they were put in ICU. So from a 24-bedded ICU, we moved on to 100-bedded ICU. So this is the way that we were able to do it. So delegate tasks, so people continue to do it. Constantly get a feedback mechanism. As I said, the WhatsApp, which was like, like as a nursing leader, top leader, to the everyone was connected to it. People were, they could put their queries into that. And any time of the day, as a leader, it was my responsibility to see that I answer it. So then I think create alignment to the top. Now it's important that the leader is available. I think at the time of change, and especially during pandemic, I mean, today I can tell you the several months wasn't an easy time as a leader, I would say that, because there was no fixed time, 24 hours a day that you had to walk around with your phone, because you don't know what queries will come, what doubts will come. But that gives the assurance to their subordinates, your staff, to say, yes, we can communicate. So I think these are some of the aspects that we need to facilitate to enable our staff. Then supporting. I think we need to understand, we need to be empathetic. As I said, the psychological aspects, we need to understand that we had to understand the staff feeling. Now, during the time there was a lockdown, so there were much more difficulties that they faced in terms of transport. So I don't know how it was in your areas. There was social discrimination. So did we help our staff? Yes. What did we do? Transport facilities were organized by the institution. Additional snacks were provided so that the staff felt that they are looked after in the area COVID that they are working. There are areas in the beginning, even PPE, because they were finding it difficult summer, the places were air conditioned. And then there are staff who felt that they don't want to go back home, that they would like to stay in the hostel free accommodation was provided. And I think our institution has a policy, both staff and the dependents health benefits. So the staff were assured. And I remember the time when the staff, when they acquired infection, when they felt panic, leaders were there talking to them, saying and giving them an assurance, yes, we are there to help for them or to care for them. Yes, the last aspect is maintaining momentum and sustaining change, especially at time like this pandemic. It was not a 1 day or a 2 day business. It was something that went on and on. It was very, very important to keep up that. That momentum will be kept only when as a leaders, I mean, every leader demonstrates their commitment. I think as leaders have to walk the talk. So automatically the staff develop, they develop confidence on the leader. Now, the Halston also has given 3 E's as a strategies, which I have said: engage, empower, and embed. Engage the staff or your subordinates in your vision, planning, implementation, evaluation. I think earlier I have explained these aspects, and empower them. So once they feel empowered, they're willing to take risk. They're willing to innovate and take action. And I want to tell you, every threat, every opportunity, we should be able to make it, we should be able to take it up. Now, one such example I can give you, and at the time when there was a lot of nasopharyngeal swabbing was done, now we said the nurses will do. So again, there are a group of nurses, about 80 to 90 of them, in several batches, trained by the ENT surgeons on a 2-day training, competency assessment, and till today, the nurses are doing nasopharyngeal swabbing. So when they felt that they are empowered, they were willing to take the risk. And during the process, especially at the time of COVID, continuously we had to see what worked. If something worked, build on it. If something didn't work, eliminate it. So that becomes a strategy. Next slide, please. Now, from what I said, you will find that leadership is an important element for a successful change in an organization, because role models, they are the role models. Now, the leader can build a high level of commitment, but they also have to ensure there is discipline, and then also to see that the work has been implemented in the right way. A good leader is adaptable, and as change happens, that they will be able to move successfully. Now, people will look up to the leader for guidance. So therefore, it's important, especially at the time of this pandemic, the leader has to be strong, calm, trustworthy. Now, this slide which presents the competencies of a leader. I mean, actually it is taken from the American Organization of Nurse Executives competencies. Now, there's a whole lot of competencies that have been given by AONE. But I was surprised to see, even for a change management, there are certain competencies given. So what are those competencies for a leader? So the leader should demonstrate these competencies. So they serve as a change agent. So how are they serve as a change agent? They are assisting others, helping others. Then they support the staff. They recognize their own feelings. Not everything as a leader, what we think is right. So we need to introspect and see whether our own reaction is right. I think many times, end of the day, it's good to recollect or realize to see what we have done. Sometimes it might have been our own communication, because one thing I want to say, it is a stressful time. So everybody's tolerance, so communication, we need to be watchful, because there are times you get very upset. But there's nothing harm if you go back and apologize. So we need to, that will come only when we recognize what we have done. If we say what I have done is right, we are never going to go back and say sorry for something that we have done inappropriately. We cannot say as leader that we are right all the time. We can also go wrong. And open to new ideas. The new ideas can come from anyone. Many times I say that the bedside nurses will give the best ideas because it's their own experience. I mean, I know like in my, when they introduced me, they said that I had designed one of the tubes for feeding. I want to tell you, how did that happen? It was a solution to, for one of the problems that we were facing in the clinical area. So during the analysis, we realized, and that is something that we, I mean, to cut short something that came up. Then the last competency of a leader. Now, there are several leadership styles we all know. Now, we need to adapt according to the situation. So, there are two aspects that are very important, which I think I also saw Sharada mentioning about innovation. Yes, during the time of change management, persistence. As I said, we cannot give up. Persistently, we need to go on. And we need to continuously monitor, and especially with the time of pandemic, it was not like something that went on as we visualized. What we planned and what we came, which was all fluid, which kept changing. So we need to be persistent and we need to be innovative. I mean, like I still recollect when we talked about the training, like my own colleagues, they said with the time of social distancing, how do we do the training? How do we give them this competency training? So just one word I said, just think beyond, think outside. Don't think the way that we have been doing. And I think Sharta was talking about in education, different way that we have now today, like today, as we said, as she also pointed out, I want to say, through webinar, we are able to reach much more than the number of people that we are able to reach today. Today, we are able to carry a lot of our activities. So a lot of innovations have been taking place. So allow people to think, innovate. So innovation is something, so we need to be open to others. It need not be an innovation only from the leader. We need to be open to others' suggestion, trying to find an answer. We will be able to find. Now, some of the roles that the leader can play. One is sponsor. What does it mean? Sponsor in this context, it's mean the initiative, you will not let it die. Now it goes with the previous aspect that I said, persistence. Now, if a leader starts saying, oh, come on, now I cannot come into, I am scared, I'm scared, I have a family, how will I come into COVID care? How do we expect our staff to enter it? Yes, leaders paved the way. That's what, as I said, 24 hours coverage, we had leaders who were in PPE into the COVID area so that they could help them, teach them, solve issues, and who could communicate to the higher level immediately. And I'm not going to repeat, role modeling is very important. We can speak so many things, but we need to remember that people are watching us. What we talk, they are expecting us to do what we are talking. So as leader, we need to ask, am I walking my talk? I think that's a constantly, as leaders, we need to ask ourselves. So there has to be a consistency between our words as well as our actions. Make decisions. Delaying decisions, I know sometimes people like to postpone, but that will not work in a time of change management. You need to make decisions. Whether in the hospital, I remember decisions related to people, man, money, as well as material. Constantly, you have to make decisions. If you wait for somebody else to make a decision, people will stop approaching you. So people should look up to you as a resourceful person. If I look up, go to this person, I will find an answer. If you are a person trying to avoid making decisions, next time they will not come to us. So it's very important. Then I communicate, which I have engaged, I have explained to you already. And whatever happens, there has to be accountability. So you give roles, you give authority, but they also have to be accountable. So these three has to be given very, very clearly to people. People should be aware of their roles. Now, there are several researches have happened. Now, in fact, there are a lot of publications that have come on to say what is the leadership style that is very appropriate at the time of change, especially at the time of pandemic, that people have done several studies and that have reported charismatic leadership and transformational leadership. Now, why charismatic leadership? We know the charismatic leadership demonstrates compassion, communication. Now, those are important. Now, they're able to inspire, they're able to motivate. Now, in a transformational leadership, we talk about role modeling. So, that is why now these leadership styles are found to be, the many research studies have shown, these are found to be more appropriate at the time of change management. Now, another important aspect, the team should trust the top management. So what do we do? It's very, very important that we show that we are trustworthy. So it is a responsibility of the leader to see that we maximize the trust and then we minimize the stress during the change, especially think a time of pandemic. First, there was stress among people. So are we doing something to manage the stress of people? Are there any additional counseling facilities for them? Or is there a place that they can go up to? Can they approach somebody if they face any of that? And at all time, demonstrate empathy and optimism. Approach people with that. Now, if the leaders are very stressful and if they demonstrate stress or anxiety, that will also pass on to the down. So we need to be extremely careful. So even for leaders, at time you need breaks. Maybe even a day to reset yourself and to refocus yourself so that you will be able to maintain the momentum. Use credibility to build the trust. How does this credibility comes? It's a combination of expertise and dependability. Yes, leader has to be expert, but that doesn't mean that leader will know everything. So there are times we should say that if we are not aware of it, we should be able to accept and say, I will get back to you and I will find out. We need to be honest and transparent. As we talked about the importance of communication, is our communication is honest? If there are problems, we need to keep others informed of that. So be honest, be transparent. So automatically they will trust us more. Then last, but something we've been talking about it, keep your communication channel open, get continuous feedback. Now, resistance is part of any change management. Now, Dr. Sharda said about what are the various reasons. I'm not going into details of it, but sometimes people perceive it the threat. The threat could be due to various reasons, but as leaders, we need to understand the change theory. So the change theory says at any change, there are 18% who will resist the change. And there are the remaining will adopt the change. So where are you going to put your effort? That 18%, if they are very resistant, are you going to waste your energy on them or are you going to make use of? Let me tell you, at the time of pandemic, we have, I think we had about 1,000 nurses worked in the COVID area. We are a pool of 3,200. So it's not that everybody was wanting to come and work. There was resistance. Leave about them. But work on those who are willing. So they will be able to do their best to manage the change. Now, we need to understand, not all the changes, resistance is negative. So that's why I said we need to identify. In the beginning, we had a majority who are not willing to work. So that's when we realized that they were worried about PPE. They were scared looking at the videos. They realized they were very fearful. So the personal contact, and the personal assurance, personal teaching, in making them feel that they are 100% competent to work in a COVID area, that they are 100% competent in using PPE, which will protect them. And of course, the institution made all other arrangements like shower facilities and scrubs and so on. So all that definitely made them to face the change. So as leaders, yes, we need to be prepared to face the resistance, but how do we make? So when there is a negative feeling, if there is something that we can modify, we can help, we do it. But there is a number who will never get convinced, ignore. So I would like to conclude by saying, because a change management is a teamwork. So what Henry Ford said about coming together is a beginning, keeping together is a progress, working together is a success. Yes, in a change management, teamwork and leading the way as a team. When we work together, it's a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Fargancia, just
Ma'am,
check
there
the
are-
chat,
yes,
yeah,
ma'am,
chat
yes.
box.
Ma'am, there are a few questions in the chat box. So can a leader be charismatic at one time and transformational at another time, depending upon situation?
Yes, that's what I said. There is no individual can say, I am fixed, my leadership style is like this. We have to change.
Okay, ma'am. Any more questions? Okay.
One more question is there. Fargancia.
Dr.
Yeah.
Brigadier Mala Singh has written, could any strategies be adopted with the life experiences?
Okay, I think if I have to, is it very specific to nursing or as an institution? Okay, maybe in a nutshell, I will just say how exactly that we did. Like, as we said, one is it is not teamwork within nursing, it is teamwork within the institution. Like, I'm proud to say that nursing has 100% independence in our institution. So even the top administrator never dictates to the nursing administrator. It is the nursing administrator decides everything about nursing. So I think that's one of the greatest advantage. So, and what we did in the beginning of pandemic, even before we started our admitting cases, we came together from the director of the institution or CEO, whoever you call it, and medical superintendent, nursing superintendent, and the general superintendent, and the HICC. So it's a group of leaders. We sat together and we started planning, because at that point, and then came up the entire medical department was converted into a COVID area. So all the arrangements segregating from COVID to non-COVID and all the other social distancing and everything else was done. So we know that it has to be done as a team effort. So that meeting which helped us, and each one could say. So each one, then individually, each team worked on that. So from nursing, at that point, we realized we need to start preparing our staff. So we started our training. I think that training helped us a lot. If somebody asked me what was the success of our COVID care management, it was the training that we initiated. And of course, centrally we started, because in nursing, because we are a very large institution, we have 12 departments. There's a decentralized management that takes place. But a certain responsibility like recruitment and major responsibilities are central, but otherwise day-to-day running, it happens at a decentralized manner. But during the time of COVID, a lot of things we had to take centralized. For example, we maintained a register to say the people who were trained and from which area, And during that time, during the lockdown and the regular work was shut down. So we had to constantly keep track of the bed occupancy, different areas. So from those areas, we picked up people who were trained, and those people we know we cannot put them in level 2 or level 3, put them in level 1, because level 1 is more patients needed psychological care, not physical care, because these are all patients who are healthy. So they developed their confidence, because already with the training, they were confident with PPE. And then we took it through, like every time every morning, I remember looking at the census, how many COVID positive cases were there, how many got admitted, how many beds are occupied, how many empty beds. Now, what is the situation in the remaining beds in the hospital? So if you need more COVID bed, which part of the hospital that we are going to convert? So what are we going to do? So for example, dermatology ward, orthopedic ward, general surgical ward, everything became COVID. So we need to look at it. Okay, do they have staff? So do they have equipment? So the equipment were mobilized from areas. So made sure. So those kind of a stress that we could avoid for the staff who are working at the ground level. So I think that is what, we have, when we say we have several level of leaders, because we know being part of an integration, now our management system is different. Like for us, as I said, like I was nursing superintendent, because like it was, for us, it's a period of term. Nobody is permanent. So I had a 5 years. In fact, I must say, we are in the process of developing a specialty hospital about 15 kilometers from our main hospital. So I was fully involved in planning, staffing, equipment, and we were supposed to open that hospital. So they asked me to take up the post. Another 6 months, they requested me to add on. So, but then I always say God has different plans. So the entire plan we had to change. Then it became a COVID management. So I think it's a teamwork, no any single individual. So another thing in CMC, we have integration of education and practice. So each of us are having clinical responsibilities. For example, like now I finished my administration, and now I'm in the college, I'm the HOD of medical surgical, but in the clinical, I have a department of surgical nursing, which has about 250 beds that I'm responsible. So this is how we move on. So I think that is what. If any specific questions, I can, because I think if I have to talk about COVID management, how we did, probably that is a 1 hour session separately.
Thank you, ma'am. So that was a very excellent presentation, ma'am. Very beautifully you have explained us what will be the role of a leader in accepting a change and making his subordinates also adapt themselves to the change. Thank you for your wonderful session today. So by this, we have reached the end of the session. So I request Mrs. Susan Jacob, Professor, MGM New Bombay College of Nursing, to summarize the sessions of the day.
Thank you, Vagansia. So today we were hearing on various sessions on healthcare challenges. The first session was dealt by Dr. Prakash Doke. He has explained very well what are the emerging healthcare problems and availability of healthcare resources. So in a nutshell, I'll just say about the emerging health problems, what he has healthcare problems on new technology, public health expectations, community expectations, violence against healthcare workers, availability of resources, budget, manpower, infrastructure, public and private sectors. And he has also discussed on the disease patterns, epidemiological transitions, climatic changes, lifestyle changes. He has spoken about communicable disorders as well as non-communicable disorders. And he's also spoke about emerging diseases, especially on COVID-19, Ebola, emerging drug resistance. And he has also spoken about accidental deaths, road traffic accidents, which is one of the emerging cause of death, first cause of death, and effect of air pollution, and other common diseases in India, which we say as malaria and diarrhea, gastroenteritis. That is due to the role of stagnant waters and role of contaminated waters, and new technologies. He has spoken about advanced technology in regarding robotic surgeries, fast information transmissions on smartphones, G4, G5, nanotechnology, point of care gadgets, use of lasers, vaccine production. Now we have seen in a 1 year schedule, we have the government of India has come out with COVID-19 vaccines and growing cost of healthcare, mostly due to equipments and machineries, entry of corporate sectors, trend in investigations, new drugs, expectation of specialists, and he has also spoken about patient expectations, growing per capita income, availability of care at the tip of fingers, excellent services, minimum bills, miracle from healthcare institutions, and poor compliance. And he has also dealt about community expectations. So at a nutshell, we can say he has spoken about, to conclude, he has spoken about all the healthcare services of India at present and how to overcome all those challenges. The next session was dealt by Dr. Swati Rane. She has discussed about the preparedness of nursing professional to overcome the challenges. She has specifically mentioned to need to have a change in your nursing curriculum, to develop curriculum into more super specialty subjects where the nurses will be able to practice in the future. And she has also discussed about the immigration of nurses, where they that we have to focus more on retention of people in our country, creating more opportunities where you can retain your own nurses, identify everybody nurses' strength and weaknesses, and nurses need to have adequate knowledge, need to be more self-esteem, and need to update your knowledge regularly, and they need to associate with various professional bodies. So at last, she has concluded, you need to be a role model for patients and profession. So that is what Dr. Swati Rane has discussed. The next came about the change management process and its challenges, which was dealt by Dr. Sharda Ramesh. She was focusing on what is a change management, need for change innovation, why do we need a change innovation? And for a change, you need to have a teamwork because no individual cannot function individually. You need to have a team of people. Then she has discussed on 7 hours of change management, elements of a successful change management process. And she has also discussed on leadership qualities, need to manage change successfully, and what is the most important aspect of change management, that is communication. Without communication, you cannot change people. So that is one of the main important aspects what she has discussed. To conclude, she has dealt with innovation, which leads to invention plus commercial exploitation. And in nursing education, she has specifically discussed from COVID, how we have dealt, how we have changed, adapted to digitization has become a paradigm shift in the education. And we need to think beyond the box. That is very essential for change in nursing profession. The last session was role of leadership in change management, which is dealt by Dr. Pramila Leo. She has done an excellent presentation regarding the COVID management, what they have done in CMC Vellore. So the first and foremost thing, she said how a leader should be. A leader need to be influencing to others. Leader need to understand the complexity of the people. You need to focus on people. And she has also discussed the 7 concepts of what a leader need to know to change. That is a sense making, visioning, sense giving, aligning, enabling, supporting, maintaining momentum, and sustaining the change. She has also discussed what are the various strategies for successful change, that is engage, empower, and embed. To conclude, she is also leader is an important element for a successful change. And she has specifically mentioned the 2 important characteristics of a leader is the persistency and innovation. So you need to be continuously persistent and you need to be a role model to become a leader. And role of a leader during this pandemic, you need to be a sponsor, role model, communication, engage, hold accountability, authority, awareness of you also need to give authority to others and make accountable to them. And she has also discussed the most important leadership style which is used in the pandemic is the charismatic leadership that influences compassion and empathy, and the transformation leadership. So today's session, we have been dealt with various emerging healthcare problems, preparedness of nursing professionals to overcome the challenges and process of change management, and various roles of leadership in change management. So I hope all the participants have understood today's program. Thank you. Over to Fagancia.
Thank you, ma'am. So hence we have reached the end of today's session. So see you all tomorrow at the same time on PM again for the third day of the webinar. So I would like to thank all the participants. Kindly fill the feedback link that has been uploaded in the chat box. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pramila Lee, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sharda. Thank you, Dr. Pramila, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Actually, Pramila madam has taken us, like now when she was explaining, we have taken our own COVID experience, how we have done in MG. So it was very wonderful. Like we could also, like, what are
You are muted, ma'am. You have to unmute yourself. Pramila, ma'am.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you once again. Thank you, Prabha.
Thank you, ma'am. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
Hi, Sharda. Nice to see you.
Okay.
Best for tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prabha, ma'am.
Yes, thank you very much.
Wonderful session. Thanks a lot.